Hello, 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 folks. What is up? What is up? How is everyone? If you are watching from YouTube or from Facebook, please make sure that you speak when you enter the room so that I can actually greet you accordingly. I can't see when you join. I can only see when you comment. What's up, Red Hot? Hey, Magical Unicorn. What's up, Jay Nice? How are you? If only you knew. Good to see you. Hello, Nathan. What's up, Marky? Hey, Elizabeth. What's up, Red Hot? Good to see you guys as well. Hey, Ruth. Good to see everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. What's up, NP? Robert Brooks. Good to see you as well. Hello, Deborah. Hello, Sharon. What's up? Hey, Cheryl. Good afternoon. It is afternoon, is it not? Holy jeez. I can't believe it's already afternoon. Hey, Amy. What's up, Win Dixie? Hey, G. Yeah, it is afternoon. My morning has gone not quite according to plan. Hey, Pie Slice. What's up, 2409? Hello, Blue Honey Pot. How are you? Cam, good to see you as well. It's morning there. Yeah, I wish. Hey, Alice. Hey, Witch. Good morning. What's up, Cheryl? I got quite a few Cheryls in here. Hello again, Cam. What's up, Jennifer Cotton? Hey, Sharita. Good to see you as well. Yeah, tempt yes and yes to my question. Hey, Irma. Hey, P. Jones. Good to see you over there in YouTube world. How are you? Good morning, Yuri. Hey, Andy. Hey, Mel Gray, Yuri, good to see you guys. No, I do not want to co-host with you. Let's get to the facts too. I don't know who you people are. I don't know. I just don't. Hey, Pinton, I'm glad you could catch a live as well. Good morning, Auntie Tinker. Hey, Darren Hale. Good to see everybody. Hey, Kat, what's up, Iris? Conchita, good to see you as well. Hey, Angel Snow. I know I missed some people. Hey, Sherry Martin. I miss people when I looked over here. Hey, Lita, no worries. We're just going to kind of go on with it. I do have a lot to talk about today. I plan to be here for a little bit today. Not quite as long as yesterday. I think, what's up, T? But for a bit, I have a lot to cover today. Some of it is going to be around the protests and things. A lot of it is going to be about the Trump administration. Some of it will also be around just people's lack of information and lack of knowledge. What's up, Masani? Oh, good morning, racist man this morning. Can I just do this first before you get blocked? Let's see if we can do boom, bam, da 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 da. You got to love when they give you the option to report and then block, right? Because I'm just not doing fuckery today. I'm just not. How about that? Nope, not doing it. Here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. Please don't engage with the trolls today. Here's the way it's going to roll for all the moderators. If they come in doing racist or any type of slurish type stuff, please go ahead and just boot them and be done. If they come in just saying dumb shit, give them a minute to kind of get online and get reset and fall in line accordingly before we just mute or boot them. That way it doesn't hurt the algorithm. Okay. What's up, Hazy? So what's up, Christine? Hey, Brandy. Just want to kind of give everybody the ground rules by which we are playing today. So if you are new to this live, let me just go ahead and level set for you today. So in this live, I'm going to ask you to do just a couple of things. I'm going to ask you to be respectful. What's up, Chef Ryan? I'm going to ask you to not use slurs of any kind. I'm going to ask you to not spam my comments, right? You can say something once or twice, but don't repeat yourself 50,000 times. It's not productive. And then I'm going to ask you not to type in all caps because all caps is for my moderators, right? And it's for the folks that are vision impaired. Hey, Lenny. So I'm just going to ask you to be respectful. Thanks, Chef. I'm going to ask you to be respectful along those lines. If you can do that, which God, I hope you can, because we are all adults, then great. We're going to get along just fine, even if we disagree. If you can't do those things, then you will be either muted or booted from the live. Hopefully that's clear. What's up, Tootie? So that everybody understands the way that things go in here. All right. So of course we're going to talk about LA. We're also going to talk about Austin. We're also going to talk about Dallas, and we're also going to talk about New York. Hey, Donna Ski. So how many of you all are familiar with the fact that we now have protests that have sparked up in Dallas, Texas, in Austin, Texas, and they are starting in New York as well? Is everyone aware that these protests against ICE, against what the ICE agents are doing, have started and they are spreading? Yep, they are starting. They are everywhere. And I think that the things that are important is that, Austin, and only because I said so this morning. um, so yeah, and so what's interesting about Dallas and Austin, right? And the reason why you don't see, yeah. So Jace, well, I'll tell you that LA was peaceful until the National Guard arrived. LA was predominantly and peaceful. Even the LA police said that on Saturday evening, right? So to pretend like LA isn't peaceful is inaccurate. They are. Um, okay, Cheryl. And so the protests in LA have been largely peaceful, right? Here's what the news. Everybody knows the slogan that. Oh, thank God! Did I pick the wrong thing? I'm hoping that. Give me one second. Yeah. So listen, they have been largely. Give me one second. I need to do, hold on, y'all. Y'all know me. I'm always multitasking because I got to take care of my family at the same time that I am trying to help and assist with you guys. Right. So there we go. Okay. Okay. She's good to go too. So Blue Honey Pot, it's always hard to tell with these things. I think that this is nothing that anybody that's ever been involved with protest is never ever surprised to see antagonists that come into the movement and try to make it look bad. Like this is just what happens when it's protests, right? Give me one second. Okay. All right. So yeah, it's par for the course, Marky. Absolutely. And we've seen these things before. This is nothing new. And I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again for folks. Don't come at me. Right, Adrian, exactly. So don't come at me talking about how concerned you are with regard to property or with regard to access to roads or any of those things. Don't even talk to me about being upset about people throwing firecrackers at police. And the reason why I'm not going to allow that is because we know for sure this the American people, this administration, and specifically the president that we currently have in office has demonstrated that he doesn't give a shit about any of those things, right? He's not concerned about property damage when it comes to the Capitol. He's not concerned about the lives and the health and well-being of police officers when it comes to Capitol Police. He is not, he's not aware, he doesn't care about any of those things, right? Because he pardoned people that were found guilty of harming actual police officers. So I'm just not going to let people try to gaslight me with this, oh, these people are horrible and hurtful and all of that. I'm not doing it, right? I will effectively just dismiss you and until you get a check in reality. I'm not doing that. So if you are someone who doesn't quite understand how that works, you will probably learn such today. Okay, so let me go ahead and start to talk about some of these things that we want to talk about. Okay. Yeah. And you're right, Adrian. Listen, folks, let me just tell you something. So, and I'm going to start to bring some folks up here. And when I bring you up here, I'm going to ask that you put yourself on mute until I can get to you. Yes, Green is leaving the Tennessee legislature after the last vote on the big ugly ass bill, right? That is true. That will trigger a special election in Tennessee. I can tell you that there is significant attention to the fact that Mark Green is leaving Congress, and there is a lot of attention and people planning to organize effectively and to strategically run for that seat. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. If they can actually come together and not go against each other, but settle on one person to get behind, they might actually see some traction, just like we have seen several things happening in South Carolina and in Jersey and other places where people that in places that have been thought to be traditionally or safely Republican, we have seen them challenged and challenged effectively. And, in the since the election, right? Especially in this first part of the year. So we're going to talk about that too, and get things going. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start to bring people up to the panel. Do me a favor. Like I said, please put yourself on mute until I get to you. Tracy, I am more than happy to do that. I sent out some requests for people yesterday that I want to kind of get on the podcast and things like that. And it takes a minute to hear back from folks. But I'm just, I'm one person, as everybody knows, right? So Kathy Rock, would you like to explain what it is that you're talking about? Kathy Rock, your settings are so that I cannot invite you up here. So I'm going to ask you to click the little square that's on the screen that says request, or to click the little pink and blue people at the bottom to come up here. Because anybody that says things like that, what I would like for you to do is come on up here and have a conversation about it. Let's do that, Kathy. What's the name of the bill, Kathy? Yeah, no, that would be wrong. Yeah, none of that has happened, Kathy. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do, Kathy. Either join the panel so that we can discuss what you're saying, or you're going to get muted or booted if you keep repeating that lie. Nope. You either get up here and back it up with facts and evidence, or you will be muted for spreading misinformation. I don't do that here. You don't get to come in here with conspiracy shit and say things that simply aren't true. Either get up here and have a discussion about it, Kathy, or you're going to end up getting muted if you keep saying lies. Hey, Eric, what's up? Like, that's just what we do. This is not one of those places where we just, hey, Jeff, good to see you. Exactly, Jeffrey Allen. So I'm just telling you, we don't do that hypothetical. Maybe somebody covered it up. I don't know. Pee Wee Herman told Little John's sister, who told, Pastor Benny, who told Susie Sue down at the market, but you're never going to find it on the internet because they all covered it up and it's so well hidden. If it is that hidden, why the fuck do you know about it? Of all people, you. Did Jesus miraculously come down from heaven, right, and tell only Kathy this miraculous piece of hidden information? You just got visited by the angel like Mary when she became pregnant with Jesus. Is that what happened, Kathy? I'm just not. What in the world? I just can't. These are grown people. This is the thing that gets me. These are grown adults living in some crazy ass world that I just don't know how you function. What's up, Sexy Stan and Donna Ski? Yeah, as we say in the South, bless your heart. I just can't. Yeah, for those of you guys on YouTube and Facebook, what you missed was Kathy coming into TikTok into the comments and saying that Joe Biden had signed a law in August of 2024 to bring in martial law, right? Which I think the first question that I would have is, if he signed the law to do that in August of 2024, why didn't martial law happen? That would be the first thing, right? And second, if he signed a law, what law came through Congress concerning martial law, right? It's always helpful when people understand the difference between laws and executive orders. It's always great when people know the difference between fact and conspiracy, or fact and opinion. And so when I asked her to join the panel, she didn't want to do that. She said it again in the comments, and I just if it and she said it, you won't find it because it's probably covered up. I won't find it because it's not true, right? I won't find it because it's not true. Period. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you as well. Right. So I just think it's important that we just when I say to you, I'm not doing conspiracy theories, I'm not doing fake outrage. I'm just not, folks. We're going to talk about things from a very, very factual standpoint, right? So here's the part that I think that is critically important. I first want to start out by sharing this GI rights hotline information. Because I want everyone to be able to give this to your loved ones if they are part of the National Guard, if they are part of the Marine Corps. They might need to know the telephone number for the GI Rights Hotline is 877-447-4487. There is also a PDF that is in my link tree that you can access in my profile, no matter where you're watching from. And that PDF has a lot of different places for you to look up information where military servicemen and persons can get support if they are asked to do things that are unlawful. Okay, appreciate you for subscribing Life on Purpose. Okay, so I just want to start by saying that again, that it's there. Regina, I would love to discuss how I'm part of the problem. I sent you a request. Go ahead and join the panel. Like I said, we have respectful conversation here. So if you would like to join the panel and share with me how you believe I'm part of the problem, I'm happy to have that discussion with you. I don't take anything personal. Hey, what's up, Xavier? Regina? Oh. Regina, can you join the panel? I sent you a direct invitation specifically to you. Oh, no, Deborah. Absolutely. No. Deb, absolutely not. You're more than welcome to join. Here, I sent you a request too. You don't have to agree with me. Now, I feel like this. If you, Tootie, did you mean to request up or were you just tapping? Yeah, Deb, I sent you a request. Come on. Let's have a chat. Where did Regina N go? America is not civil anymore. You guys will vote for anyone can curse in any dirty words name call. You mean like Donald Trump? When he said to grab women by their, is that what you mean? Is that what you mean by electing anybody that will curse? Gotcha. Well, I believe, I didn't vote for him. So, okay. It appears that both Regina and Deb are very courageous in the comments, but lack the ability to join the panel. And, I think what will happen is if you keep saying things that are inaccurate or inflammatory, you will end up getting muted or booted because you're not joining. Well, if you're at work, why are you on TikTok, Deb? Are you stealing from your employer? I'm just wondering. Because if you're at work and you're typing on your phone, how are you? I'm just curious. Well, if you're on your lunch, why not join, Deb? I mean, you don't take phone calls on your lunch? You're at your desk? Oh, so you're just on your desk on TikTok, just typing away. Well, Deb, aren't you the wait a minute, I'm so confused. Are you the one who said that I'm part of the problem? Is that wasn't that you, Deb? Isn't that what you said? Hey, Dominic, can you grab the groceries, babe? I'm just curious. Yes, babe. You are welcome, Jennifer. 100%. Can you grab the things and bring them in? No, no, not what you said. What exactly was it that you said then? It was Regina that said that. I got it, Stacey D. What's up, love? Good to see you. Hey, Scott. Oh, you have to agree on the panel because that's the pattern here. Well, I guess this would be my question. Deb, how many times have you joined my live? Deb, how many times have you joined my live? What's up, Metal Rabbit? Hey, Jamie, good to see you. What's up, Mr. Barrios? I'm asking, Deb, you're gone, I guess? You don't want to talk? Yes, baby. Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. Well, here's the thing, right? This is my thing. So she said that you have to agree with me to either get on the panel, and that's been the pattern. And my question is, well, when have you joined my live? Because A, there's been no one on the panel this morning, right? And B, if you feel like I don't talk to anybody except people that agree with me, why are you here? Why are you here? Like, why be here over and over and over again if that's the way you feel? What's up, Anna? Hey, John, good to see you. Hey, Jen Penn. Right. So it's just really interesting to see folks that express these things that just pop off at the jaws and really don't know what they're talking about. It's just funny to me. So anyway, let's talk about a couple of different things. And I talked about them yesterday, and I'm going to talk about them again today. Yeah, Adrian, you can tell the people that are new here. You can tell the people that are new here. And, you know, it's interesting to me whether or not people come around because you secretly want to learn facts and become freed from the state of mind that you are currently in, whether it's because you want to learn facts because the news people that you listen to don't provide them, whether there's some secret part of you that is ready to be released from the bondage in which you find yourself, or whether, you know, you have a crush. And if that's the case, let me just say this. I'm single and not looking, but I appreciate, you know, your observations. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Bronze. Hey, Susie. Good to see you as well. All right, so let's start talking. I want to share with you guys about Title 10, single and not ready to mingle. Yeah, I don't have the time to mingle. I just don't, right? I don't. Love that. Okay, so let's talk about Title 10 because that is what Donald Trump used to send in the National Guard. And here's what I think is really interesting about this and the specific piece of the law that he used and that he quoted when he did that, right? Appreciate it, Dax. And yeah, Michael definitely does not. You have a crush, but you have the wrong, oh, I have the wrong plumbing. Yeah. You know, listen, and I will say this, I do exactly. I do. I mean, my door only swings one way. Right. But I respect everybody's, ability to swing whatever way they want to swing. As long as the people are of age, legally of age and consenting, do what you will. Right. That's what I will say you. Okay. All right, so here we go. What's up, the other Cheryl? Okay, so here we go. All right, so let's talk about Title 10 and what Donald Trump is specifically talking about and what part of this law he's quoting when he talks about, invoking Title 10. Okay, so here's what it says. It's 10 USC 12406. That's the US code that we're talking about, right? It's unannotated Title 10, Armed Forces 12406, National Guard in Federal Service, right? And so here's what it states. Whenever, one, the United States or any of the Commonwealths or possessions is invaded or is in danger of invasion by a foreign nation. So we can discount that one. That's not the one that he's talking about. Number two, there is a rebellion or danger of rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. That's number two. And then the last one is number three. The president is unable with regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. That's number three. So the second one is the one that he is referring to. He is saying that they are preventing ICE from carrying out their orders, right? But the challenge that I find with that statement when he issued it on the 7th, hey, Nicole Bell, is that the Los Angeles Police Department had put out a statement the evening of the 7th indicating something entirely different, right? So the LA Police Department put out a oh God, love it. Y'all are just all the way out there, aren't you? So the LA Police Department had put out a statement on the 7th, on the evening of the 7th. And I'm going to share it with you, and I am going to talk to you about it right now. And we're going to talk because the timeline of events is important. Okay. Yeah, Helen, I know that. Yeah, I know that that California, they started suing the administration yesterday, right? Right, Metal Rabbit, correct. And so that's why I want to talk specifically about this portion of Title 10 that he quoted, because that portion of Title 10 is really, really important as to what it does say and what it doesn't say, and what it looks like. So let me hold on one second. Y'all know I have a bunch of things pulled up, right? Okay. Yes. Okay. So when he invoked Title 10, he wants to claim that ICE is being prevented from being able to carry out their federal orders by people. Now, that was done on the 7th, right? So let me just go real quickly to his presidential memorandum issued on Saturday. So this is the part that gets important, okay? This is the part that gets very, very, very important about this is, did it pop up for me? Let me just, oh, it did. That's going to be it, right? Yes. Okay, so listen, you guys. He put out this presidential memorandum on June 7th of 2025, right? Here's where it's going to be interesting to see what the courts do. And the reason for that is pretty simple. So let me, okay. So let me share this with you guys over here so you can see it. I will share it with you all as well if you'll give me just a second. Thank you, Titus. Folks, listen, if you want to discuss this with me, if you disagree, you are welcome to join this panel. Like, I literally mean, Danny Ryan, he didn't use the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act and Title 10 are two different things. He didn't use the Insurrection Act. As a matter of fact, insurrection is not mentioned in Title 10 at all. It is important to know the difference in the laws that you're trying to quote and to not put them together. I think you have June 6th and January 6th mixed up. That's what I think. So. I know that they sound similar. They both start with J. They both have a 6 in it, but one of them, they're 6 months apart. Like, there's a lot in there that's similar, but they're not the same. January 6th and June 6th are not the same thing. I'm not here for it today. Can y'all tell? Okay. Like I said, if you would like to discuss it with me, feel free to join this panel. Oh yeah, Zeke, you'll have to tag me so I can see what Ollie said. I have one of me talking to Phil Rowe. Okay. Yeah. Over the last weekend, it has been, listen, the last few days have just been too much because the level of denial, the complexity of the mental gymnastics, and the amount of cognitive dissonance that I have witnessed in order for people to continue to support an administration that is clearly violating the Constitution has been astounding to me. It has been absolutely astounding to me in the way that people have behaved. Because the bottom line is, it's not correct. I just told you, and I'm going to show it to you in just a second. You ready? Let me share my screen with you guys, and then I'm going to get to the other folks. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right here. All right, so you guys can see. And now, we're going to talk here. So let me just bring it down a little bit right here. I'm going to take down this backdrop so that I can share the screen with you. I am going to flip my camera. This is the actual memoranda that Donald Trump put out on June 7th, right? You all can see that this is clearly the presidential memorandum on June 7th. And his statement says that that there are United States government personnel and members of ICE who are performing federal functions, right? And to execute federal immigration laws. And they are saying that they are, look at this, they are saying that this is a form of rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. So that's his claim. So that is specifically held right here in Title 10 USC 12406. Okay. And it's this piece right here that he is attempting to use. So if you'll notice, nowhere in here does it say anything about an insurrection. He's talking specifically about here where it says there is a rebellion or danger of rebelling against the authority of the government of the United States, right? Now, the problem with this is he's trying to say that that this peaceful protest, which was at that time very peaceful, was a rebellion against the government of the United States. And that's actually not true, right? So exercising your First Amendment is not a rebellion against the government, right? Again, I think they are getting, January 6th and June 6th mixed up, right? So you can peacefully protest against the government, right? And it not be a rebellion, okay? Nala, my daughter, lives in LA. Yeah. And I will say this, I don't have to live in Los Angeles to be able to read law. I don't have to live in LA to be able to read law. That's the beautiful thing, right? About our connectedness today is I can read law from wherever I'm sitting. Okay. And so what we can tell and what we see is he is saying this is a quote unquote form of rebellion. That's what he is saying. And the courts will decide if he's right or if he's not. Now, here's what's going to be interesting about this very thing is because he did this memorandum on the 7th, right? But the evening of the 7th, the Los Angeles Police Department put out their own statement. And their own statement says, Los Angeles Police Department statement regarding today's peaceful protest, right? Appreciate you guys for following. And if you can see, it's dated the same day as his memorandum. So here's what the Los Angeles Police Department said. You ready? Today, demonstrations across the city of Los Angeles remained peaceful, and we commend all those who exercise their First Amendment rights responsibly. The Los Angeles Police Department appreciates the cooperation of organizers, participants, and community partners who helped ensure public safety throughout the day. While today's events concluded without incident, the Los Angeles Police Department remains fully prepared to respond swiftly and appropriately to any potential acts of civil unrest. Our commitment to safeguarding the rights, safety, and well-being of all Angelenos continues day and night. We all maintain a heightened readiness posture and remain ready to ensure the continued safety of our communities. So this is the biggest thing that the Trump administration is going to have to contend with in this court case, because on the day that he issued this order, this is what the chief of police, this is what the Los Angeles Police Department put out that day. Now, what's also going to be important is the governor said, listen, if you send National Guard here, you are going to escalate things. And what we know is since the National Guard arrived Sunday morning, things have escalated. Now, I personally watched video yesterday of an Australia reporter who got pew-pewed with a rubber a rubber ammunition from an officer with her back turned to him, right? So there was no one approaching this officer. There was no one engaging with this officer. There was no one threatening him. There was no one doing anything, right? And so here's what I will say is that when you have officers who engage violently with press, with protesters who are not engaging with them, right? Who are not engaging with them, you will expect things to escalate because people are going to be like, why in the fuck are you hitting me with rubber ammunition when I'm just walking peacefully down the street, right? So this is the things that we're going to talk about. I'm sorry, Huckleberry. I know it's difficult, but try to stay on task. We're discussing the peaceful protests that are currently occurring in Los Angeles, the ones that are now occurring in Dallas and in Austin and in New York. And we are talking about the Constitution and we are talking about the law, right? So no one right now is discussing anything regarding C-19. Okay, just to bring everybody level set, right? So, and well, JW, you would be calling the Los Angeles Police Department liars, and they would probably know better than you. Okay, so here's what's interesting and necessary for us to understand is the timeline of events. The timeline of events go that on the 7th, things were peaceful. On the 7th, things were peaceful. Once Donald Trump became involved, they became not peaceful in some ways. Now, let me just say this. They are still largely peaceful. What I think is that a large number of you all do not have an idea about how extensive the city and the county of LA is in terms of its size. I don't think that people are aware that you can take, hey, Carla, good to see you. I'm just saying, Susie, listen, LA and LA County is quite extensive. Oh, I don't know where I went off of here. Hold on one second, folks. Don't know where I went. Sweet baby Jesus. What is happening? Is this what nope, I don't want this either. Y'all, what's it doing? Why is it acting crazy to me? This is when TikTok does its own thing. Oh, look, I'm way up here, stuck somewhere. I cannot. Oh, okay. I know I'm in a corner now, but I don't know how I got there. I do not know how I got here. Sometimes TikTok just trips out, folks. I know I'm like a floating head Dani. I don't know what this is. TikTok is crazy. Effects. What I really need is is this going to do it? Nope, this is not going to do it. Why is this a thing, y'all? Why is TikTok acting crazy with me today? I cannot. Well, here's what we're going to do. Oh, you know what? Praise him. Somebody said, girl, just flip your damn camera. I love you, whoever you are. I don't even know you, but holy Jesus. I don't know how I went away and then I came back and then I went away and then I came back, but it was with the different effects in the background. This is how tired y'all made me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and invite some people up and we can discuss the beginning of the things that we're talking about. When I bring you up, please put yourself on mute until I get to you. All voices are welcome as long as those voices are respectful. Do not use slurs of any kind. And as long as folks don't spam the comments, don't, thanks, Iris, all those things. What's up, tech lady? Hey, Jen, good to see you. Yeah, and that's true, Rebecca Little Bird. That is absolutely true, 100%. I saw that at Standing Rock, definitely. We saw that in BLM, right, in Minnesota. We saw that with the people that were actually arrested in Minnesota for those things. We saw who they were. Many of them were not local, and quite a few of them were white folk, right? Absolutely, we saw that. Thanks, Dad Jokes. Good morning, Marcia. What you got for me? Good afternoon now, I guess. Good afternoon, Marcia. What you got for me? I will send you an invite to unmute and see if that helps. Marcia, did you mean to request up, Marcia? Let me know. I don't think Marcia meant to request up. What's up, Uka? Hey, good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in a minute. What's up, Swells? Hey, Bailey. Hello, Smile City. Okay, so is there anybody that would like to discuss Title 10, this particular section of Title 10 that he quoted? What's up, Bubba Bear? And the phrase that he's using to try to indicate a rebellion that prevented ICE from carrying out their federal duties. Would anybody like to discuss that point? If you disagree with that point, that Title 10 and this particular section of Title 10 does not apply here, because I don't believe that it does. I think that the evidence from the LA Police Department is going to weigh heavily against him, regardless of what happened after that. So just checking. Oh, thanks, Miss Lisa. Glad to see you here. Anybody want to have that conversation with me? Even if you disagree, that's absolutely fine. Appreciate you, Brandy. Good afternoon, Sapper.
Hey, Dani. How you doing?
I am doing well. What you got for me?
Dani? Yeah, so I'm in agreement with what's going on, right? With the point of National Guard, with the point of the Marines. I'm not in agreement with it. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right?
Okay.
After looking at the definition of a rebellion, and it says that any organized pushback against a government because the people are in disagreement with policy or laws or whatever it is, could be considered a rebellion.
Where are you reading that definition from?
Well, I went through to straight to Webster's.
Yeah, and so
I looked it up.
Right?
And it did list a few things. I can read it here for you. What it says about it.
Sure.
It says here, a rebellion is position one in authority or in dominance. It can be an open armed or usually unsuccessful defiance or resistance to an established government. Right?
So I think that there's a difference between Webster's definition of rebellion and the legal definition of rebellion. So when it comes to the legality of rebellion, because oftentimes people look up the word like in Webster's and they think, oh, well, then this definitively fits it. But when you are looking at the legal definition of things and the pieces that have to be in place, right? There are different components to law. So, for example, when people talk about whether something is first degree unaliving or not, right? There are oftentimes different components that have to be there, right? And intent is often the hardest one to prove. There has to be premeditation, and what does that include? What does that consist of? So when we talk about rebellion in a legal context, it is generally understood as an organized, armed, and often violent resistance or opposition to established government authority or its laws. So it generally constitutes, from a legal perspective, right, that the people are knowingly inciting or engaged in or giving aid to people who are attempting to go against the authority of the entire country. For example, like January 6th. So I don't know that this will meet the definition of an actual legal criminal rebellion in terms of law. And I think
I totally agree with you
Mhm.
Where that is concerned, and I'm gonna toe the gray line, right?
Mhm.
To say that he is actually toeing the gray line here, right? To see what he can get away with and how far it will go. Now, what I have taken notice to, I'm not in LA. I get my news source from CNN. I watch CNN a lot. Okay, I spend numerous hours watching CNN. I have noticed that the National Guardsmen are basically doing what they are allowed to do by law, which is to protect the federal buildings.
Correct.
They're standing guard they're not engaging the citizens. They're there to show force, but they're not engaging the citizens. And they are just protecting the federal the building and or federal agents just per se, right? But I have not seen any of them bear arm against a citizen yet. And it's going to be the same for the Marines. The Marines will not bear arm against the citizens. I think they're just there as a show of force and as optics.
But the thing is, they shouldn't be there at all. It's a violation of law for them to be there at all.
I agree with you if they were engaging the citizens.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they are engaging the citizens or not. They are there illegally because the National Guard is under the control of the governor of that state. And even Title 10, which Donald Trump is using, right? Even Title 10 goes on to say the president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws. Orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states. So even if they met the standard of Title 1 of Title 10, the orders would still go through the governor according to law. So when I say that they are there illegally, they are there illegally because Gavin Newsom has not ordered any such things, which is why the National Guard are there sleeping on the floor and on top of each other because they have no accommodations. Donald Trump sent 2,000 National Guardsmen there with no accommodations, with no setup for food, with no setup for shelter, for nothing.
Yeah, and that is a logistical issue that should have been sorted out by the DOD.
But do you know why it couldn't be sorted out? Because Newsom is the governor, and those orders come from Newsom. The federal government, unless they want to give them housing, unless they want to give them shelter at the federal buildings, right? They can't order state buildings to do something and house them. They can't do that. Listen, y'all, states still have sovereignty. And it's funny to me, all these people that have been talking about states' rights to justify everything from discrimination and segregation to slavery, right? It absolutely baffles me that all of a sudden y'all don't understand. Don't yell. No, girl, that's not how you ask me, and you damn sure don't scream. Yeah, you say please. Now go get your juice and I will pour it. Don't scream. That's rude. Anyway, so listen, for the folks who keep screaming states' rights, all of a sudden they don't understand that California has its own states' rights.
Every state has its own state rights, and that's why it's called United States, right?
Correct.
Every state has a copy of their own constitution.
Correct.
Right? So every state has its own rights. However, yes, federal constitution. State rights is a byproduct of the federal constitution.
Right.
So you have to understand, and you have to understand California's constitution and California.
Can somebody go ahead and block? Excuse me, I have to address this. I need Peg Leg Hunter to be completely blocked from this live, please. Thank you.
Right.
And I hope that you get your own karma, Peg Leg.
You have to understand California's constitution to understand California's state rights. You can't go with just federal law and say, well, this is it. Because what's in Pennsylvania is not in California. Right? And so I totally agree with you there. Not going to give you any pushback there at all when it comes to that. But when it comes to the military, because I spent 20 years in the Army, because of the oath that we both take, so the active Army and the Army Reserve, the Air Force, and the Marine Corps, we take an oath, and we take an oath to the Constitution of the United States and to obey the President of the United States, right? And the commanders, right?
Hold on. You had me until you got all the way into that. We take an oath to what?
Yeah. So the oath that we take
says what?
Obey the Constitution.
Yeah.
And the orders of the officers and the President of the United States.
Are they legal orders or unlawful orders that we have to obey?
Okay.
Because I served as well. Just so we're clear.
So now we're going down the rabbit hole, right? So the UCMJ,
yeah,
that we need to follow lawful orders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the order to deploy is a lawful order. The order to
no, it's not, because they legally don't have. No, it's not. In this situation, the order to deploy is not lawful because the order to deploy is being given by someone who does not have the authority to do so. The National Guard does not, the National Guard of California, its chain of command is Gavin Newsom. That is the commander-in-chief of the National Guard.
Yeah, but guess what, Dani? You don't forget that the National Guard, their oath is also to two entities.
And there is a process for that second entity to take over. And that process did not happen. I clearly spelled it out. Listen, the law clearly says this, okay? The law clearly says, even if they met the standard of rebellion, right? Which I don't believe it does.
Excuse me, Dani. Someone up here is saying that I'm mansplaining. I'm not mansplaining. I'm having a conversation, an adult conversation with Dani. I'm not mansplaining anything. I'm not a misogyny. I'm not mansplaining. She's explaining to me. I'm understanding. I'm explaining to her. She's understanding. So please stop with that. That's BS.
So
I'm sorry, man. Dani.
So here's the thing. Even if it met the standard of rebellion, which I don't believe that it legally meets that standard, even if it did, the law says 10 USC 12406 says that it lists those three things, and then it says the president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws. Orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states. And so my point is simply this. It is not a lawful order to deploy if he does not have the authority to do so. He doesn't have. So that's the thing. So listen, we understand that the National Guard has state execution and federal execution, but in order for the president to federalize the state's National Guard, there is a process in which it has to go through. And I'll tell you why this is very clearly demonstrated. because even when the National Guard has been called out in 2020, for example, the states that did not want their units to deploy, those states, that National Guard stayed on their own soil. They did not go anywhere else. States have the option to join in.
Yes.
And so this is my point. Donald Trump overstepped his bounds legally because Gavin Newsom said there is no need for this. And when people understand the magnitude and the numbers of the LAPD, they are more than equipped to handle 400 or 1,000 people that existed on the 7th. They are more than well equipped. So there was no need for this. None.
I totally agree with you, Dani. I as a veteran, as a former battle, I totally agree with you when it comes to him federalizing the National Guards the way that he did, because George Bush did the same thing, but he asked the governor of that state for permission, right, prior to him doing so. And it was only until things got a little dire where the government reached back out to George Bush and said, okay, let's go. I get it. I understand the hierarchy. But, playing devil's advocate and just looking at how he may be looking at it, I'm not caping for him by any means. I'm not, right? Can't stand the man. But I just want to put a different light, a different spin, and just look at it differently. To say, okay, what's happening here? Why is it happening? And how do we revert this? And what will the judge say in this court case? How will that judge vote? To say, well, you know what, Donald Trump, you messed up, and you got to get these troops out of here.
My point is simply this, right? I don't think that, okay, so we know that the Trump administration has 100% tried to see everything that they could get away with. They've been doing that since the first administration, right?
Yeah,
but that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing the lawfulness of what he's done, right? And what I will say is that according to everything I've seen, even if the law is slightly, because rebellion, just like insurrection, is not specifically outlined with a legal definition. So you have to rely on precedent and the interpretation of law. And so you would reflect back to see what legal cases have been ruled and determined to be actual rebellions against the United States government. And what does that look like, right? But the catch-all at the end of the day, no matter how you argue that point, the catch-all at the end of the day is, even using Title 10, there is a requirement for those orders to be issued through the governor. And that did not happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Correct. So it doesn't matter how you slice this piece of cake, right? It's still raw in the middle. The shit ain't cooked.
Let me stick it back in the oven.
Right, exactly. They didn't think this through well enough. Right. And that's why I believe, just like the vast majority of all the other times, they will lose in court.
Yeah. Well, I hope he loses, to be honest with you. I hope he loses. And, I hope that what comes out of this is that he realized that the American people are not going to stand for the foolishness and for him to do things the right way. Him and his cabinet to do things the right way. Tom Holman, and Bondi, and the rest of them. Do things the right way. The American people don't mind you deporting undocumented immigrants that are here committing crime who are not supposed to be here, but do it the right way. So
let me ask you this question. Can you tell me what percentage of unauthorized immigrants commit violent crime in the country? Do you know how many? Do you know what percentage of them?
I would say roughly, Dani, about 1 or 2%, if that.
It's 0.0029%.
Yeah, that's why I said at least 1 or 2%, if that much.
Right. It's 0.0029%. And the reality is simply this. I don't know if you've ever looked at those numbers, because I have quite extensively. And I've looked at them not only from the undocumented immigrant versus U.S. citizen crime statistics, which was a DOJ study, right? Along with the study from the Brennan Center about undocumented immigrant crime rate, as well as the actual undocumented immigrant crime statistics from Customs and Border Patrol. So when you look at that, so I'll just give you kind of the overviews, right? So there was comprehensive arrest data from the Texas Department of Public Safety, right, to compare the criminality of undocumented immigrants to legal immigrants and native-born U.S. citizens between 2012 and 2018. That's the first study. The second one, this is an excerpt from it. In New York, which is a sanctuary city that has received the most immigrants from Republican-run border crimes, right? Border states, crime decreased in most major categories in 2023 compared to the year before. So as confirmed by a January report from the New York City Police Department. So I want y'all to hear me. In 2023, when Greg Abbott and DeSantis put a bunch of unauthorized immigrants all the way up to New York in the middle of winter in January, right? Even then, when New York had to figure out what to do with everybody, and they did, right? Crime still decreased in most of their major categories in 2023. So
you know why, Dani? You know why it decreased?
Why is that?
Stats have shown that when people are hungry, they don't have a job, right? That they don't have a place to live. They can't keep warm. That they will commit crimes.
Yeah, poverty leads to increased crime, 100%.
Right. So what happened was, when those people went to New York, they were given shelter, they were given food, they were given an opportunity to work. Right? Mm-hmm. So guess what happens? Crime drops.
Yeah, I don't think that people quite understand when somebody said because they were never prosecuted. It doesn't work that way. And let me just tell you how crazy you sound. You are literally telling me that in the United States of America, brown people are committing crime and not being prosecuted. You better kiss my ass with that. You know good and well that is not a thing. Let me just tell you, she said in the comments, because they're not prosecuting them. When in the United States of America has brown people committed crimes and not been prosecuted? Get out of here with that madness, because you know better yourself. In what world? That tickles me. It's just like y'all saying, oh, they were giving immigrants $20,000. And when? When has the United States of America given brown people $20,000 a month for no damn reason? Never. What you need? You trying to get down? Oh, well, girl, I couldn't tell. Here, you got to turn this way. You can't be on screen. Over here on TikTok land. You can't be on screen, sis. Okay, I'm just saying, you got to use your common sense, people. It's not a thing. Exactly, Uma. They sure, Alex Russo. Exactly.
They were never given money like that.
No, they weren't. I do know what they were given. And the reason, hey, don't do that. The reason I know what they were given is because I looked up on the city. So the city of New York actually had an entire report about this. They had a report about the contracts. Whoops, get that, baby. They had where'd it go? Oh, you got it. Get it. They had a report about the contracts with the hotels, right? Those hotels, a lot of people don't realize, were significantly struggling after C-19. They made contracts with those hotels for those immigrants to stay there for 6 months because there were so many of them. They could not get processed through the normal processing center. There wasn't room for them. And then they were given prepaid debit cards. For a family of, I think it's 4 or up to 5, they got $350 a week, right? Now, what they used to do previously is they used to send them boxed lunches. They would send them boxed lunches and they would deliver it to the folks, and that's what they would do. But the problem is this, right? is that with that, they had to hire people for the box lunches. They had to pay for the supplies and the materials, the boxes, the disposable forks and spoons and all that good stuff, right? And it took time to do all of those things. However, by giving them a prepaid card with $350 to feed 5 people in New York, which ain't a lot, people. If you ain't never lived in New York, go on and visit. I'm just saying. My family lives there. But anyway, what they did is when those people went to eat, when they went to buy their groceries, when they went to buy school supplies, when they went to buy clothes, they were buying it in their communities and stimulating New York's economy. Yeah, babe. Okay, I'll call and ask. But that's why it was being reinvested in the community. So it was actually better for the economy for them to do it that way. Bless your hearts. Stop being haters. But that's what they did in New York. Nobody was getting no 20 grand. It wasn't happening. Right, DJ. It was a win-win. And the only way I know, do y'all want to know how I know that? Is because I actually went to look it up. I went to look. This information is readily available if you are interested in facts and not what makes you feel better, not what justifies your position. And I would highly encourage you to start looking for the facts. Yeah. So, Sap, anyway, that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct where that is concerned, Dani. I'm not too far from New York City. I also visited New York during the time when I keep hearing about all the Venezuelan and then Salvadorans sleeping on the streets of New York and robbing people. And when I went there, I didn't see it.
No, listen, I have never.
A bunch of lies.
What people don't understand is per capita, New York is one of the safest cities in the entire country per capita, right? Tell Dominic to look for me. Yeah, and California per capita is safer than damn Alabama. So let me go ahead, Cam. You want to pop off and yeah. So hey, sweets, what's up, Cam?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What's up, the boss?
Because I am working.
I can still hear you, Cam. I'm just getting something from me.
To hear from you again to make sure I understand. Like, obviously, I know that he sent illegal orders by sending the National Guard out there, but I'm trying to understand from the. I know you're not a lawyer, but you obviously read everything you need to read, and you know you're much more knowledgeable than I am in this subject. So I'm trying to understand, like, from a timeline perspective. Like, where does he kind of like where do you think he loses in court? Like at what point? Is it because he just, like, obviously the LAPD put out their message, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just trying to like help me connect the dots on like the timeline and where he really where it really became like illegal, I guess. Like, I know it is illegal. I'm just trying to figure out, like, LAPD said no, we don't need help. Governor Newsom said no, we don't need help, and then I guess he still sent them anyways. Is that as simple as that, or
it's pretty much that's pretty much it? It's just that simple.
That's that. So what if? So I guess okay. So riddle me this, and this is maybe a little bit more hypothetical. And I'm just trying to understand. So, like, if there's a scenario where the local police are saying, hey, we do need help, but the governor is still not calling for it. And the reason why I'm asking that is because you mentioned Austin, you mentioned things happen in New York, and I'm wondering about other places where, let's say the governor isn't, let's say, the same political party as the local government. So, like, what is the case there? I mean, I guess the governor still has the say, or?
Yeah, the governor still has the say. And I'm not aware of any instance where law enforcement has said, we need assistance, and a governor said, no, the hell you don't. Like, I'm not aware of any instance where that's ever happened. And that's definitely not what happened here. You know what I mean? Things did not escalate until after the arrival of National Guard.
Yeah.
And they're still predominantly peaceful.
Right. I've seen lives, like, I was watching live last night and over the weekend, and obviously every live gives you a different POV, but every live that I saw looked relatively peaceful, right? Like,
correct.
Probably at night, you can get a little bit more, I guess, like, rowdy, if you will, than the daytime lives.
But why is that?
I mean, What did you say?
But why is that? They get more rowdy at night because people can cover their faces.
The agitators are out.
Because the agitators are out. They can cover their faces. It's dark. It's harder to be identified. That's when you see those things happening. In the daytime, you don't see it.
Yeah, and then I've seen, just here on TikTok, there was people like, playing music and dancing. So yeah, during the daytime, it feels almost festive, if you will, right?
Like Woodstock.
Right. And then at night, it's like kumbaya, people, I don't know, I've seen like people like, in the streets, like sharing food or just with music. Yeah, very Woodstock, like, and then at night is where, the masks come on and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then, so, and like I said, even the ones at night, I haven't seen anything crazy, if you will.
Right.
Nothing fun out there. But what people, and I think you've mentioned this on your live before. I don't know if you did today or yesterday. I'm always here.
Right.
So I all blend together. But like the fact that LA is so big, I think people just don't understand when you have such a small fraction. Like if you saw one little video of what looked like chaos or looked like violence or looked like rebellion, if you will, seeing that one little video on this one little street doesn't mean that's what it is, right?
Right.
So
100%.
People just need to understand, just because you saw one little video or one little thing, this is where we really need to put our media literacy caps on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really understand that you have to kind of see the bigger picture, and that LA is very large, and that what you see on Fox or CNN or whatever is just a small snippet of the big picture.
Right. And let me just tell you something. For all of y'all red states whose states would not survive without the money from these red states that are donor states, you might want to learn a little bit about the economics of this country before you keep talking shit about California and these other donor states. California sends $80 billion to New York. 80 million. Hold on. I think it's a billion. Don't make me lie, but hold on. Because I wrote it down.
A lot of money.
80B with a B. B. Yeah. So California is a donor state. They give $80 billion for the federal government to pay its bills, right? So if you're sitting down in West Virginia, you might want to just be quiet.
If you're in West Virginia, I mean, not to call out a bunch of states, but if you're in West Virginia, you in Alabama, you need to be quiet. And it's just crazy because those are the ones who are like, oh, those, immigrants are stealing our jobs. They're giving us, they're stealing our money. And it's like, no, you're stealing money from California.
Correct. And
like you're stealing money from New York.
Because imagine what California could do for its veterans and for its homeless folks if it wasn't sending money to red states. Imagine what California could do if it wasn't sending money for its people, if it wasn't sending money to take care of Trump supporters in your non-producing ass states.
Sitting home in West Virginia complaining about your tax dollars going to immigrants is quite rich, when the fact is those tax dollars are coming from immigrants in California. Like, it's a big...
Exactly.
The irony is really real there, but... Yeah,
it just tickles me. I'm just like, y'all are absolutely crazy. And I want to show y'all something, because this is how easy information is readily available for folks if you want to see it. Hey, Nance, good to see you. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all as I do. So the images that I am showing you, give me one moment, people. Grandson, I need you for 2 quick seconds. Please. He's like, really, Tutu? Yes, baby. I need you for 2. Will you put this in the freezer just so we can get cold for me real quick? Do y'all see those images? That is not LA. That is after sporting events.
These people, it's like their memory is just not there because, like, has anyone seen a World Cup?
I just want y'all to see this right here. This is the Seattle Times, and this is after a sporting event. I just need for y'all to understand that y'all talking about, oh my God, they're burning cars. Y'all don't give a damn about them cars. Not when your team wins or loses. It's the craziest thing. I said this to y'all yesterday. This is why I'm not entertaining anybody. Look. I want y'all to just see. It's crazy. Do y'all see all this madness?
And for anyone who's tuning in, this is sporting events that she's showing. This is
Look right here. Sporting events.
Yesterday, someone said that they landed a Black Hawk helicopter in Compton. And when I looked at the video, there's no way in hell that helicopter had landed in Compton. And you saw, they say, allegedly, the law enforcement officers were walking up to the helicopter, unloading it. But they were standing straight up while the main rotor was spinning. They weren't ducking, they weren't bending down, the rotor wash wasn't blowing up, none of that.
Right.
They're standing up, walking like they're walking to a regular door, like, okay. Really, people?
Why fans in Connecticut and the U.S. riot when their team wins?
Dani. And I bet you that's not even a final or a World Cup or
right.
That's probably just that's just a semifinal. Like, these people don't understand
what happens. And here, let me just say this to you all. This is when you have to be very careful. I'm going to say this as like, I need for people to really start to understand this, okay? Folks, just because you see a video of it, don't make it so. The things that they can do with AI and deep fakes and all of that make it really, really important to double check and triple check not just videos, but the sources of those videos. Like, it's very important. I cannot stress that enough, right? The things that they can do. That's one of the reasons why that provision in the big ugly ass bill that they have, the provision that says that states cannot enforce their own laws against AI, right? I'm just telling you, there's a reason they don't want states to be able to regulate AI for the next 10 years. What do they hope to do in the next 10 years? Folks, listen, this is real stuff.
And that's why MGT, she said, wait a minute, I didn't know that was
because she don't read shit. She just signs whatever they tell her to sign. So, and I just changed it to United States Sporting Events Riots, just, to get a little bit more accurate. Just so we get it and we can tell. These, look, check them out. Y'all see them burning stuff? In Philly, they was climbing light poles and stuff. Look at them. Look. You see them, officers? I'm just saying, folks, this is when we have to really be diligent. And someone said to me, I think it was yesterday or the day before, well, what made you research all this stuff? It's your job to know. I said, listen, it's your job as an American citizen to know. It's your job to become informed. It's your job to know truth from a lie. It is your job to not believe every damn thing you see and hear because it's coming from your side or your party. It's your job. And here's the key, folks. Let me just say this to you all. Real talk. I've said this and I will continue to say this. If you see a headline, and that headline is particularly inflammatory, if that headline is particularly one-sided, I don't care who it's coming from, question it. Question it, folks. Because it is most likely, this is my thing, I always ask myself certain questions. When I see headlines, y'all, I always think, okay, who is this benefiting? Who do they want me to be mad at? How could it benefit people? Who would be behind such a thing? And I don't care who it's coming from. Democrats as well. If you have followed me for a little bit, you saw me mad as hell at Jasmine Crockett and Eric Salinger when they was lying about the damn amendment about deporting people, citizens, right? I'm an equal opportunity. Stop your lying asses, right? So I'm just saying.
Who, what, where, when.
Solwell. Thank you, Solwell. I don't know where I got Salinger from. That's English. See, there goes my schooling. But I'm just saying, folks, you have to, right, Mandarific, I'd be tired. Y'all be wearing me out. But I'm just saying, you have to look beyond the headlines. You have to actually ask yourself, why do people want me to be upset? If you have an immediate emotional response to something, that means it was designed to do so. In the marketing world, they call that pattern interruption. So, especially in the world that we are in today, where we are constantly bombarded with information, it is really important that when something makes you stop your scrolling, if something makes you stop and pay attention, and your reaction is very high emotionally, that is a sign you need to check the source. That is a sign you need to check the facts. That is the sign, right? Always. I just want to set that out there for folks, right? Let me go ahead and reset real quick. Go ahead, Cam.
Oh, and I'm going to say one more thing and then probably drop. But yeah, one more thing is that read beyond the headlines, right? Or just get a little context, because sometimes you'll have these people just sharing stuff and then you'll click on the article or look up what they said, and then you look and see, and it's an opinion piece, right? And it's like, no, well, an opinion piece is just that. Like, sure, there might be facts added into it, but it's not, an opinion, everyone should know what an opinion piece is, right? Versus just a news article from New York Times or something like that. So I think people need to, go back to not kindergarten, but just, go back to where we learned about this kind of stuff.
See, I think about college, and I think about your junior and high school years in school, where you were required to cite your sources. You were required to know where the thing came from. You know what I mean? And
where you couldn't just say, well, I grew up in the digital age. I'm a millennial, so I kind of grew up with the digital age as it was evolving, if you will.
Right.
Sometimes you just see comments online or Google it, or Google's the source. And I'm like, Google is not the source.
That's not enough.
The link that you clicked on is the source. Google is a platform that you go into. Now they have their little AI thing, which is getting a little scary because people kind of use that as their source.
They do.
All it is consolidating at the top, right? It's just scraping the internet and consolidating the information that it has gathered across many sites.
And people need to know that when we say across all the sites, that includes Reddit, that includes your public forums. It is not just the AI doesn't just scrape credible sources. It scrapes everything.
Yeah, because to your point, if someone said something on Reddit and agreed that, whatever it is, it's going to put that into the Google AI overview is what they call it, and that's at the top of the page.
Yeah.
And if that's okay, that is okay to use depending on what we're talking about. When we're talking about the law and stuff like that, no. But if you're just trying to look up, I don't know, does an elephant have 4 feet? Yeah, it's a quick, easy answer. If you just want to know something about a random fact, sure, go ahead. And that gives you what you need to. But to use it and expect it to just use it as your argument, no, please stop.
No, Danilo, it's not. And let me just tell y'all, if you scroll to the bottom, it literally says AI responses may include mistakes.
Right.
It tells you that for a reason. They are saying, listen, it might not be accurate.
And Cheryl just put Cheryl said Google's the search engine like the library. Exactly. You saying you got it from Google is equivalent to you saying, well, I just got it at the library. Well, which book? Which chapter? Which page? Where did you
get it? 100%.
You can't just say generally.
Yeah, Metal Rabbit is saying Google Scholar is a little better. But the reality is this, folks, it's about Google AI can be your starting place. And those links can be your starting place, but it's not enough. And so for me, I go to the links within the links within the links until I get to. So even though I read the AP article about Title 10, I still went and looked at the law. I still went and looked at the law because that's the part that's important, folks. You have to go look at these things for yourself, and they keep wanting to make it easier to make you, I don't want to say lazier, but to make you less engaged and willing to take just about anything. What's up, Sarah? Right? And we can't do that, right? Mystic Nova, I don't know what you're referring to. Kim, you're free to stay up, or if you want me to drop you down, just let me know. I want to get to Scoops and Jen and then Living with the Louds.
Yeah, let me give you 30-second commercial break, even though I don't normally do them, but since I'm here.
Have at it.
Normally that's Stacy or Phantom or whoever, but since I'm here, I might as well do it.
Appreciate it.
Everyone gets me, but since I'm right here, so yeah, everybody, welcome to Danny's live. Be sure to go ahead and tap the screen for her. Right now, we're at like 190 likes. Hopefully, we can get her closer to 200 likes before we think. Before we end, I think she's probably going to be on here another hour or so, maybe less. But yeah, go ahead and please make sure tap and share. We know that Dani gives us so much information, and by sharing the live, liking the live, that pushes her out on the algorithm and the FYP, and we know that the more people that see it, the better, because she's sharing so much great information, and we appreciate her. I know I talked about that, and I don't know what to say, but yeah. If you haven't, thank you. Someone sent one, so if you haven't already, go ahead and send Dani your daily heart me, which is at the top left, next to her name. Just hit the little heart me. It's about 1 cent or 1 coin.
Yep.
And that also helps push her out the algorithm. Another thing that really helps is obviously gifts, but sending out that little popular gift is another really good one that helps put her on the FYP. One more thing. Dani, obviously I can't forget, there's the link tree, so AKA the link forest. So if you click on Dani's name, and then you can see that you see Dani on all socials, but you can join her Discord server. And then, so link forest, a bunch of, usually everything that Dani is sharing in the live, whether it be links, resources, anything that she's referencing, AKA her citations, are all in her link forest link tree, where you can kind of check those out.
Thank you, Sarah, for subscribing.
So,
yeah, appreciate you, Kim. Thank you very, very much for holding me down. All right. Hey, what's up, Mike Glover? I'm going to drop you down, Kim. I'm going to really quick, I'm going to level set before I go to Scoops, and then to Jen, and then to Living with the Louds. Okay. So if you are new to my live, I only have a couple of asks in here. You're absolutely welcome to disagree with me. Oh my God. Thank you, John A, for the lion. Oh, I love that one. Holy shit. Leon the kitten is a nice gift. Thank you very much. I don't really freak out that much, but that one's really pretty, right? I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so but let me level set with you guys really quickly and let you know that if you are new to my space, I only ask a couple of things, right? You can disagree with me. You can, we can have dialogue and discourse, all the things. I just ask that you be respectful. I ask that you do not use slurs of any kind, right? I ask that you don't spam my comments because it's not helpful. And then the last thing is don't use all caps. All caps are reserved for moderators and for my individuals that are vision impaired. So I ask respectfully that you respect those individuals, okay? Other than that, we can get to the nitty gritty. Sometimes we can get passionate and all of that, right? And that's fine. I just also want us to remember to bring it back down and make sure that we keep, Cheryl said, what? Shelton said, I wanted to yell. No. And so that's it. Just keep it respectful. We all get passionate. Appreciate you, Lucretia. But you know what I mean? So what's up, Mom with Goals? Good to see you too. All right. So I'm going to go to Scoops next. Where is everyone? Oh, you mean over there on YouTube? I don't know. You know, Metal Rabbit, sometimes YouTube and Facebook act funny, and I don't know if it's because I'm using a third-party streaming service or not. So I don't know. TikTok is always usually the most engaging of all three platforms. whatever that says. Oh, Mila, Bella wants you to get off of her.
Mila keeps going on the cushion.
Yeah, Mila, get off, please. You're being too much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Listen, when Bella's laying there, it says she can't jump all over her head, okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm really grateful. Well, it was John A, I believe, is who sent it. Yes.
I don't hear me at that time.
Well, I think it's because you were flipping on her, right? So, like, if you don't want your sister to hit you, don't jump on her. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna go to Scoops and then Jen. So, Scoops, good afternoon. What you got for me? Yes, life lessons, Mandarific. Scoops, I'm going to send you an invite to unmute. Yeah, Metal Rabbit, that's something else too. I don't always see all the comments either. I don't know. Scoops, going once, going twice. All right. Request back up if you meant to come up. What's up, Jen? Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Dani. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I kind of wanted to follow up on the inability of the administration to take care of the National Guard. It's not their fault they got deployed there, and to not give them basic necessities is super frustrating to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted to throw my phone last night when I saw that. And then the last I heard, the Marines actually hadn't left Pendleton yet because there was some kind of disagreement with what they were actually going to be doing when they got there. And I just kind of wanted to follow up on that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have. Well, where in the hell did that go? I did not click out of that. Sometimes I hate it when ads pop up and then the thing that you're looking for goes away. See, and this is the other thing. So I'm going to just share a pet peeve real quick because it's happening right now. I don't believe that when the news is of absolute national significance, that there should be paywalls in order to access the content.
Right. Yeah.
I have a real problem with that being the case. I'm very irritated right now because the article that I want is from the San Francisco Chronicle, and they have the best image of our National Guards folks that are laying on the floor, right?
They're on concrete.
Yeah, they are laying on concrete, and the problem is that the San Francisco Chronicle, that image is behind a paywall, so I can't see it. So I had to dig around for fuck's sake, and then here's another one that did the same thing to me. So I'm gonna see. Okay, this one let me close out without sending me back home. Oh. Sorry, y'all. That really irritated my soul for a minute. Yeah, so Jen, I don't know how far the Marines are in their deployment and whether they've come or not come. But I think according Metal Rabbit is saying that they're writing up deployment parameters. Maybe someone is saying, hey, before No, Mom with Goals. No, that's not one of the provisions within Title 10. I'll share it again in just 1 second. So let me show you real quickly because I found a second one. So this is the one. I'm going to make sure that you guys over there can see it. You can. And now let me show you folks. Jesus, if I would stop clicking shit the wrong way. Sorry, y'all. I will show you all this one for you guys over here. Because I want you to see when people start to talk about military people, this is what Trump has done for these guys.
And why I'm so frustrated about this is because there's no reason that should be happening.
Right.
And my unit got deployed down for Katrina relief, and we had tents and cots and food and water provided, and we were under Title 10 to go down there.
Yeah. But I bet it was coordinated through your governor.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yep. He did not work with the local governor and the local law enforcement and the structure, the administration. And so these are our troops on the concrete.
So Dani,
yeah.
Dani, I don't want to cut you off, right?
But
what I'm looking at here would be, I don't know how legit this photo is, but if that's the case, that I'm going to lead up to a local leadership issue. And the reason why I'm saying it's a local leadership issue is that in every unit, every platoon, every company, right, every battalion in their conics, there are tents, there are pots, there are water jugs, there's everything that unit needs to survive. Everything that they need to survive.
That depends, because National Guard is different from active duty or reserve.
Every Army unit.
But this is not the Army. This is the National Guard.
I have done 20 years in the Army.
And I did 12, so what?
Served alongside Guard members, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps.
Again, though, but
in their conics should be their basic DII for deployment.
Okay, so once again, Sapper, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Okay? So, like, Jen, I know you did 12 years Army.
Yep.
What else did you do? I can't remember if it was you or somebody else.
I did 12 years Army MP and then 8 years civilian law enforcement.
Right. Okay, that's the part that I couldn't remember. Okay. So it's important to understand that this still does not have anything to do with local leadership. It does not matter about local leadership if they are deployed, because the National Guard normally has provisions provided by the state. They don't, when they go into the cities, National Guard doesn't take all their tents and pop them up. And pop them up where, by the way? Where would they, in LA, tell me where would they put the National Guard with all of their tents, and why would they think that that would be the case? The logistics would have happened between coordination with the governor's office to coordinate that logistics. But because Trump did not do that, this is where they are, wildly unprepared.
When I had my weekend duty, like I spent a majority of my 12 years on active duty deployments, but when I did do my 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer, our S1s and S2s had to do the logistics to get us hotel rooms for the weekends. If we lived so many miles away, they had to make sure we had one hot meal and an MRE every day. Like, there's logistics, and he took that ability away when he federalized them. And
Correct.
jumped the gun.
Correct. Because now they are being done, they are being operated under the federal government, not the state, and not the federal government is telling them everything to do. And the reality is this, right? So let me tell you what senior military leaders advised on Monday, that the California troops could continue sleeping on the floors or outdoors until Thursday, at which point federal officials would decide whether to make a more permanent lodging plans.
Dani, as a former non-senior NCO, I was a first sergeant, right? If I was being deployed, and when I get to that location, I'm in California. I'm from California. Just say that, right? I notice that my troops don't have pots to sleep on. Hey, Sergeant so-and-so, Sergeant so-and-so, I need to send a squad back to battalion headquarters, open up those conics, and bring those cots up. Whatever it is that we need, go get it. It's not anything that you have to buy. We already have it. It's already in the supply. It's already there. It's already issued.
That's
It's
not
like
how the National
issuing
Guard
truck.
works.
You know what, Dani? I gotta go. Because you know what? You want to tell me this is not how the National Guard works. I have a son who's a second lieutenant in the National Guards also.
Okay.
I am fully, even though I'm retired, I am fully aware of what goes on in the Army. So please don't tell me that the soldiers have basic cots in their conics just laying there. Don't tell me that, but I know better.
Sapper, can I ask you a question? Like, seriously, because you are talking to two other veterans. I'm a veteran, and so is Jen.
And I'm an NCO. I was an NCO, so I get it.
So my thing is, you are saying because you are retired military, you know A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, and what we're both telling you is we are both military as well, right?
But you know what, Danny, I get you, but if that's how your unit used to run, then shame on those NCOs. Shame on that leadership. Shame on them. Shame.
Because the National Guard is state run, they are only allocated so much money. So they may not have a supply of MREs. They may opt to order those a month in advance before they have a drill.
So what happened to their cots? What about their basic EII that they're supposed to have in their conics? What happened to their basic tents?
Where are you going to put a tent in LA?
You can put a tent up anywhere.
Not
a tent up anywhere.
So when you are talking about the city of LA, and I think that there's a lot of pieces of this that maybe there's a lot of assumptions that are happening, right? A lot of assumptions that are happening, right? So whenever the National Guard is mobilized, right, for this, the folks that are doing it is all coordinated through the state. And if the federal is involved, it's the federal too, together, right? And so what I would offer is that this was done, number one, very quickly. They were there at early Sunday morning, and this was just done on Saturday. My understanding out of everything that I have seen and read about this article is that it was a lack of planning. Oh, what did that just do? A lack of planning and preparation to ensure that all of these things were done in the right manner to ensure that they had everything they needed when they got there. It was a rapid deployment that prevented all of those things. And traditionally in LA, when they are deployed, accommodations are made for them.
Danny, you're right where that is concerned. But in my opinion, for me looking back at it as a non-commissioned officer, because I never gave up my title as a non-commissioned officer, even though I retired. Non-commissioned officer's job is to make sure that the troops are fed and given the proper provisions. The non-commissioned officer's job is to inspect and store and make sure that everything is prepared prior to a deployment, because you have 24 or 48 hours notice.
But they didn't have that.
Orders, even if you're given 1 hour notice, you get to the unit, you got your truck, you back your truck up to the conics, and you load your BII and you go.
Okay, so give me 1 second so that I can pull this up for just one moment. Because, and I need to, oh, hold on. This is an article that I would like. 222. All right, so here we go. I like to not just make assumptions about things, so that I can read. Oh, so they needed to change. Okay, so what I need really quickly is pre-mobilization readiness, page 5.
Come on, guys.
Okay, that's just about training. That is not about provision. All right.
You'll probably safe. Come on.
Okay, so let's see.
Baba.
So no, they don't. And I'll tell you, let me just show you what I'm reading. This is on page 33. So that's fine that he left. I don't care. I'm going to share this for everybody else in the room. Mila,
Thank you.
not so loud. So because y'all know me, I just like to go and find facts. That's what I like to do.
I'm trying not to lose my cool here.
Yeah, it's all good.
When we got deployed to Katrina, we had 2 days to prep for that before we left.
Okay, so let me make sure that I'm sharing. Okay, I am. Okay, so let me show you. So what I'm reading, hold on, folks. Let me just show you. This is the Army National Guard training. This is the regulation for Army National Guard training. This is from 23rd of June, 2021. And this is a complete revision, right? And it's telling you that it establishes guiding for the execution of policies pertaining to training units and individuals of the Army National Guard not in active service, because they're not called up, right? And it gives you like everything that's in it. So what I did was I looked down here first at this pre-mobilization readiness, and that didn't give me what I needed. So I jumped down here until I got around page 33, which is substance, right? So this is training support. So this is the support. So if you just go down here, and I'll show you how I got there. I just started searching for MREs because I know you need them damn things to live.
Yeah.
Right? If you ain't never ate, no, back when I was in, the beef stew was like the best. But anyway.
Tortellini, man. Tortellini.
Yeah. So right here. So here's what it will see. Here's what it tells you. It will tell you that states coordinate with Army installations 90 days prior to troop training, strength, and ration cycles so that the commissary officer can have arrangements for them to receive what they need, right? They don't always have everything on hand that they need. They just don't. And so if they're going to be activated, things have to be sent to them if they don't already have them, right? And yeah, see, that's not even listed in here at all. So I'm just saying, I just wanted to roll this out. And so there's a whole thing about making sure that they get whatever they need in order to be ready to deploy. So the idea that it's not going to be the same as being in the active duty military, because the National Guard isn't always called up, right? And that's why there's a planning period and all the things, and you have to mobilize and where the things stored and where do you have to be and how soon do you have to get to LA and like all the moving parts. And I would imagine, and this is just me, kind of really thinking out loud here. I would imagine that there would be a lot of craziness going around at this point of trying to execute an order coming from the president and not from the governor, right? I would just imagine that it was a bit of a shit show, right? And there's travel rations and the whole nine, Carol, right? I just wanted to show a little bit of what's here so that people understand that they don't always have that, right?
Now, I have every confidence in the world that those NCOs that are there are trying to do the best they can to take care of their soldiers.
100%.
And they have pokey bait and they have their own bottles of water, but that's not the point.
Right. They're sleeping on concrete. That's the point,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So Nance is over here on Facebook saying, yes, my husband, 30-year-old vet, Michigan Army National Guard, she says, not Army Reserve, tells me that he would only follow his governor. Exactly, because that's who has the authority to activate you. And none of the provisions and the circumstances outlined in Title 10 apply here. they're going to try to argue that it's a rebellion that was preventing the execution of orders. The problem they're going to have with that is the LA Police Department's statement, press release on the 7th, the same day that Donald Trump produced this, presidential memorandum. They're going to run into the opposition of the LA Police Department's press statement at the end of the day, saying that the day had ended without incident, that everything was great, that they were actually thanking the coordinators and the organizers for doing things peacefully. And so I think that people need to understand exactly what we're talking about here. And if they have been federalized, I don't know that they can use state resources if the state didn't activate them, if it's not coordinated. I don't know whether the federal government then has to pay or provide for those things to be activated. Like, there's just a lot of questions.
I'm not sure about the difference between Title 10 and Title 32. So, like, when we were deployed to Afghanistan as a National Guard unit, we were paid by the federal government.
Yes.
Not the state.
Yep. And so that's the thing. So once you've been federalized and the president becomes in charge of the National Guard, then you are now federalized and everything is covered by the federal government. Period. Yeah. Yep. And I know it was $134 million to deploy them to LA, right? And the thing about this is real simple, y'all. I want people to understand this. There is a difference between Title 32 and Title 10. Yeah. The biggest thing, though, that people should know is that none of Title 10 is what he quoted in his presidential memo, but the conditions that have to be met for Title 10 are not provided. And they are not being met. And that's the part of this that matters at the end of the day, right? So, yeah. And even like there's a couple of different things. So let me just read a couple of things, okay? And I will tell you right now, this is an AI overview and there's links. I already pulled up one of the links for you. I will do my due diligence and pull up the rest of them. So I'm giving you that disclaimer already. No, National Guard units do not always have every piece of equipment, including COTS and MREs, ready for deployment at all times. While readiness is a core function, they typically operate on a system of mobilization and preparedness for deployment. So there's a strategic reserve model. MREs are usually designed for field use when dining facilities are unavailable. I think that people would believe that in LA, dining facilities would be available. You should be able to eat in LA. But so they're not always there. It literally says that. And it says units are assessed for mission readiness based on various factors, including equipment availability. So I would just say that, the idea that, that they should have absolutely everything, I don't agree with because, well, first of all, because the manual says that's not so. But second, they are not the same as active duty Army.
No.
So, Jen, you got anything else you want to add before I pop up here to Living with the Louds?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Sweet. Hold on, Sapper. Hold on 1 second. I got to get to Living with the Louds and then I'll get back to you. What's up, Louds? How you doing?
Not much. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. What you got for me?
I just came to tell you thank you.
Oh.
That's all.
Well, you're
thank you for
welcome.
educating people.
You are very welcome. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Sapper, you're back. What you got for me?
Yeah, so Dani. Yeah, I didn't run. Okay, my phone on a live on me, so I had to plug up and come back up. So, okay, so when they talk about unit readiness, right, and equipment that the unit may have, they're not talking about your basic equipment that you should have. They're not talking about that.
It literally listed MREs and COTS in it.
No, MREs and COTS. Okay, so for instance, an admin unit, right? An admin unit. I would not expect for them to have a plethora of MREs and COTS. But an infantry brigade, yes. And what's in LA right now is a combat infantry brigade that's there. These guys probably just got back from overseas. They have their cots. They have their basic BII. I'm being real with you. They have their basic BII. It's at some point, yes, the federal government funds their meals and their pay, etc. Right? That's what the federal government funds. They are, and whatever extra equipment that they may need. Those NCOs and commanding officers, lieutenant and company commanders should have made sure was that, okay, if they say, all right, you know what, we're getting ready to deploy to LA, be prepared to be deployed to LA for an extended period of time and take everything that's in your BII that you're going to need. When I saw those videos of those guardsmen standing outside the federal building, one thing that stood out to me is that I saw a water buffalo, which means that they tanked up that water buffalo, and that water buffalo is there with potable water. As far as provisions and food that they need, the card that he can use to purchase food for his troops. And as long as that government credit card is being used for the purchase of food for the troops and provisions for the troops, it's legal and authorized. So, I don't want to spread any false information out there that the troops are not being cared for, because I believe that my fellow non-commissioned officers and officers are doing what they need to do for these troops. And it will be a sin for them not to be taking care of their troops. It'll be a sin. They don't deserve the rank that they're wearing if they're allowing that to happen. Doesn't matter if it's from the president or Congress. You're a non-commissioned officer, you make sure your troops are taken care of. Point blank. And I'm holding them to that standard. I'm not passing the blame to the president. I'm passing the blame to those non-commissioned officers and officers who are in charge of those troops.
Well, and again, what I would say is you are making many assumptions about this particular troop and what they do or don't need. Here's what I know is one of the individuals who was involved with the deployment, who spoke to them, said that they were, quote unquote, wildly underprepared, right, for this deployment. They arrived without federal funding for food, water, fuel, equipment, or lodging. This person said state officials and the California National Guard were not to blame. And here is the quote. This is what happens when the president and Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, demand the National Guard state assets deploy immediately with no plan in place and no federal funding available for food, water, fuel, and lodging. This is really the failure of the federal government. If you're going to federalize these troops, then take care of them. That is the statement from the person involved with their deployment. And what you heard is after that, senior military leaders advised on Monday that the California troops could continue sleeping on floors or outdoors until Thursday, at which point federal officials would decide whether to make more permanent lodging plans. Now, in my opinion, the reason they are saying that might happen until Thursday is because that will be about how long it takes for there to be some sort of hearing in this court case and whether a judge will implement an injunction of some sorts. That's why I think they're waiting before they spend any more of the government's money for these troops that they've just sent out there. So I think that pretty much says it from somebody that was involved in their actual deployment. The person went on to say, quote, Currently, there is no plan for where everyone is sleeping tonight, end quote. Adding that there's an urgent need to find more portable bathrooms and dumpsters for garbage. The Pentagon referred questions about troop provisions to the California Guard, which in turn referred questions to the U.S. Special Operations Command North, which did not immediately respond. So do you have a response to that?
I have a response to it.
Okay.
I'm following you. I'm going to DM you. I am going to do some deep diving. I'm going to make some calls. Okay, because I'm not the run-of-the-mill non-commissioned officer that was in and got out. I'm not the average NCO. I know some people. I still know people that are in. Still know people that are in high places in California, in Fort Irwin. And I will make some calls. And I will find out the truth. They'll tell me the truth as to what took place.
Well, I'll tell you.
If that's the case, Dani, those senior non-commissioned officers failed those troops.
If that's the case, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, failed those troops, and so did the Commander-in-Chief. Those are the people. Hold on for a second. What I'm not going to do, here's what I'm not going to do. I am not going to lay this at the feet of people that are being federalized by the President of the United States in this crazy-ass administration and lay that at their feet. I'm not going to do that. None of this is run-of-the-mill. None of this is ordinary. You tell me how an NCO is supposed to behave when the President of the United States says you got to deploy. These are not normal circumstances. So I'm going to lay the blame exactly where the fuck it lies. And that is at the people at the top that gave them the orders without the preparation. I'm going to give it. So there's a reason that Gavin Newsom tweeted out, quote, "You sent your troops here without fuel, food, water, or place to sleep." There's a reason the governor is saying that. And I don't think that your people are going to know more about what his National Guard is doing than Gavin Newsom does. I just don't think that. It doesn't matter if you're not your run-of-the-mill NCO or if if you are related to Captain America. It doesn't matter. I think that the governor of California, who is the normal commander-in-chief of this National Guard, knows exactly what is happening with them because it's his job to know so. And I don't think that he would wildly make some shit up if it did not happen. So I'm just saying, I'm laying the issue at the feet of the people that created the problem. And that would be Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth. Those are the people responsible. Period. Nobody else.
And I digress.
I'm just saying. They don't respect the military. They never have, ever. That's why that damn PR stunt at Arlington Cemetery makes me so angry. That's why his comments about people who are captured by enemies makes me angry. That is why every bit of this pisses me the fuck off. I don't want to hear that they appreciate anyone. They literally pardon people that unalived Capitol Police officers. They literally, I just don't know how much more we have to see to understand where the problem lies. Period. Because that's where it has to be. Period. So I'm just saying, these are the quotes from the people involved in the actual deployment. And I promise you that Gavin Newsom checked it before he put it on X. Thank you, Gemini. So.
I digress. I got it, but I'm still gonna do my deep dive, and I'm gonna find out more. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I've gotta go.
Yep.
I followed you. Okay. Please follow me back. I'm going to DM you whatever information I get. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good, Sepper. Have a good one.
All right. Okay.
What's up, Sammy J in the place to be? What's up?
Not much. I've been listening for a little while since Sapper was here and he left and came back. And Sapper, I kind of don't want you to go. You got a couple minutes. And I'm going to make some assumptions, just like Sapper made some assumptions, but they are based on some facts too. I'm going to talk. Okay, I promise I'm going somewhere with this. People who've been divorced. It usually happens. What I'm about to describe usually happens to the men. People who have been divorced often start to figure out what that person they just divorced did for them every day, right? The underwear isn't in the underwear drawer anymore after a couple weeks, and suddenly they're making their own doctor's appointments, and suddenly they got to clean up their own house, right?
Yep.
This is what I'm making a point here. I was listening to Sapper say how the Connex was there. And it had the MREs and it had the equipment. The thing that we need to understand is, the Connex was there whenever he served, and I don't doubt his experience, but somebody put it there. Somebody organized and put it there. It did not show up magically the way some married men's underwear shows up in their drawer.
Yes.
And so I've been listening and thinking about how many hundreds of thousands of federal employees were fired?
Oh my God, so many.
And so I've not served, so I won't claim to know all the ins and outs. But to me, this may very well be the cracks starting to expose themselves. It was someone's job to make sure that when Sapper got deployed to X, Y, and Z place, there was that Connex, and it had all the things that they needed, the cots and the MREs and so on. And that may have very well been a federal employee, because I don't see why that has to be somebody in the military, right?
Right.
There was, and what I think we need to know is that our federal employees were parts of major systems that took care of the norms that we know to be true in this country for the past forever. And they're not going to change everything overnight by firing them, but eventually we're going to start to see the cracks. And so I don't know this for a fact. Like I said, I'm making an assumption here. But to me, this may very well be the result of all these people getting fired.
So let me just do this, because now you're going to send me down this thing. Hold on, because I'm going to be, I'm over here. If you cannot, I know you can't see. Don Lemon said, who's his favorite TikTok? Don Lemon said, I'm his favorite TikTok. Me? Oh, well, thank you, Don. I haven't been on Don's TikTok since, I don't know, October, November of last year. But thank you, Don Lemon. Appreciate that. Yay. Love that. Tell him he's more than welcome. Hold on. She requested up real quick. Hold on, Sammy J. What's up, love me?
Hi. This morning, I was on Don Lemon. I was, watching the show.
Yeah.
And he played you talking. And, he played you. Yeah, he played you talking. He said, everyone listen to my favorite TikToker. She's my favorite TikToker. And he was going at somebody. He was like, that's my girl.
I was,
No, you.
wasn't me saying I give zero fucks?
Yes. Yes.
Don would choose that one. He would choose that one.
He said, that's my girl.
And that's because they came at me. I was so mad. So full, disclaimer, I've had a rough 3 days with people and their fuckery. And there was a dude on yesterday. There was a couple of them. And he was like, they lit cars on fire and they're damaging property and da-na-na-na-na. And so I played videos of sports riots after they went. It was huge, y'all, yesterday. It was huge. And I said, okay, so I'm just going to say this in response to your thing about property damage. I give zero fucks. I did.
Like that this morning.
I did. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, Well, thank you for letting me know because I had no clue.
Yeah, and I live in California.
Do you? My daughter lives in LA.
Yeah, I live in the north. But however, this is rough. People don't understand. Gavin Newsom he's a really good governor.
Matt said who? Matt who said that? Sharon? Why are people talking about me and I don't know it? Matt who? Who is Matt, y'all? Watch it be somebody I should know. Go ahead, love me. Sorry.
Yeah, but we I'm from here, and yeah. So this is hard on us when it's just regular people that's working.
Angry
you know,
yes.
It's too much when your favorite restaurant is shut down in one day because they're scared.
Yes.
You know, or it's grocery stores because they're scared.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
they do have their green card, they're still scared of being deported. If they have any documents, they're scared. I have a friend that's a Polynesian, but she looks Hispanic, and she's scared, literally.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I will say this. There are things that I have considered doing. And I have three grandchildren. So everybody knows I'm biracial, right? Black and white primarily. My grandbabies, however, my son-in-law is Hispanic. Like he's part El Salvadorian, part from Honduras, like all the things, right? And normally if it was me and it was like, because I believe that well, let me just say this: we have always had to introduce our children to adult issues before everybody else, right? And so I would, if things were different, take them to like a peaceful protest for them to be to witness, right? They came to the protest I did in Tennessee. But because I look the way I look and they look the way they look, and this administration takes babies from people before finding out who they are, and they get separated and just all the risk that's involved, I have to do my fight in a different way, in a different place, right? And just be grateful for the people who are going out in the street. So I understand why people are concerned, even if they are legal, even if they are whatever, because this administration is not operating in a legal way and in the way that we should. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I think it's just my just me, and I'm gonna drop down. But I think this is a distraction to. I don't know if it was true, but I had read something that was saying that they figured out that the election is rigged.
Oh, be careful because you'll get my TikTok flag for that. So
that's right.
Yeah. Woo, Lord, please, Jesus, watch it.
TikTok shop is a
Yeah,
great place.
TikTok shop. Listen, I got a few things in my TikTok shop cart right now. I really do, actually.
It is so sad we can't even say that word right now.
Right, it's true. But
last couple months ago we could.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me just say this, y'all. And for those of y'all who do not know this, and maybe there are many of you who don't, if you all don't know who now owns 60% of TikTok, do y'all know who? I know y'all might have heard me say this the other day, but let me just show you this. Who owns TikTok? And let me show you. So it's actually, this is on TikTok's website. If you go to usds.tiktok.com and go to the who owns TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, here's what you will see that they have done, because ByteDance said they were never going to sell the entire thing, right? And they didn't. But here's what they did. 60%, roughly 60% of ByteDance is now owned by global institutional investors. Guess what? No surprise. BlackRock, General Atlantic, and Susquehanna International Group. 20% is owned by the company's founders, and 20% is owned by its employees. That's why we are still on TikTok, y'all. That is why they have allowed TikTok to stay up. It is not that Donald Trump is extending it out of grace. It's because they worked this deal in the background here, let me just show, because y'all know I need to show y'all what I'm doing so that people can see. I don't like for people to just believe me. I like for y'all to see what I'm talking about. So let me go ahead and I'm going to drop this down so y'all can see. You don't want them to come in? What game are y'all playing? Minecraft. You got some zombies coming for you? So this is TikTok's U.S. data security website. So that's the USDS part. And who owns TikTok's parent company, ByteDance? And roughly 60% is owned by BlackRock, General Atlantic, and Susquehanna International Group. This is it. And so that's where it is. See? So, yes, they are. Goody two Lexus. They sure are. But I just wanted y'all to know that. So y'all need to know why the algorithm is a little different, but still here. You might wonder, why in the world are they still alive? Why is nobody really mad about TikTok no more? Because the greediest of the greedy American companies have their hands in it now. And in my opinion, I mean, I ain't worried about it. Shit, they already knew who I was before this, so it's okay. But I'm just saying, so they can keep tabs on absolutely everything. But anyway. Okay. Well, thank you. Love me or love me. Yeah. So there you go. Everybody said, "Oh my God." I didn't know that. I thought I told everybody that. Maybe I didn't say it enough, Sammy J.
Oh no, I was saying that's cool that Don Lemon or Lemon.
Lemon.
I get it wrong.
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon likes
Called me his.
Cool.
It's crazy that he called me his favorite TikToker.
Yeah, that's cool. That's real cool.
That's so crazy.
No, I know exactly the moment. I was in here yesterday when Hughes was in here. And man, I was like, "What is Dani?" Let me just say, you remember how you let him talk for a long time? That Hughes guy, you let him talk. You took down your background, and you were just letting him talk. And I had put in the comments, I was like, "Is this Operation Let Him Talk? What is this? Like, Dani, make it stop! Like, make it stop!" And I knew you had something brewing. I knew you did. I saw you clicking away and like halfway listening. And then you were like, "Okay, well, I could give a flying fuck."
I was so mad because, so here's the thing. If y'all don't remember, so yesterday, the way that this started was, it was the conversation around the 14th Amendment. And so what happened is, if y'all remember, I had B before I had Hughes. And B, who we had to tell him that left eye twitch. I know they say my left eye twitch is when I'm about to dog walk somebody. But anyway, so I had B. And remember when B, I went through like what the grammar is and why the semicolon matters and da-da-da-da-da. And that's why when Hughes came up, he was like, "You could talk about grammar or you could talk about whatever you want to, like you did with the other guy." And so that's when he needed a new thing to talk about. And he made the mistake of picking that property shit, right? And that's why I was like, let me just pull up these little videos and go from there. And so it just makes me angry. And the biggest piece of it that makes me angry is because it's my left eye. It's mirrored, y'all. It's mirrored. So it's my left eye, but y'all see it on the right. It really is my left eye, but the cameras are mirrored. Yeah, I know my right from my left. Listen, the military used to have me saying left, oh, your left, right, oh, left. Yeah, but anyway, so what makes me angry about it is that these are real people. These are real children. These are human beings, and the trauma is real. The trauma that these individuals are experiencing is real. And let me tell you something. We have never been great at immigration and deportation. I was not happy when they were in cages under Obama. I wasn't happy when they were ripped from parents and in cages under Trump. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. What Obama did, he did legally, but legally don't always mean right. I hate to say it, y'all, but just because something is legal doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. And so yesterday I had just had my fill of that particular demographic of individuals making up shit. Yeah, not only was slavery legal, Sammy J, but it was in the Bible, right?
Yeah, and that's something that I don't think we talk about enough, because people talk about these people are illegals, which the dehumanization behind that word is ridiculous. First of all,
Yes.
But second of all, shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, just because it's illegal doesn't mean that law was written in a way that we should want to keep it that way, right? Like, we've had laws on the books in the past that we've gone, yeah, we probably shouldn't do it that way anymore. And
Correct.
so and no human being can be illegal, right? But if we're going to talk about things that are illegal, paying off a porn star, that's illegal, right?
Ain't it though? Especially to influence an election.
Okay, how about robbing from a children's cancer charity? That's illegal.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
We elected it, right? So if we're gonna call, and the fact is, they call them quote unquote illegals because they're saying that they quote unquote broke the law when they crossed over or whatever, overseas visas, whatever way. If they broke a law, they broke a law. If they broke a law, let me be clear about that. But most of us have broke a law before. Mm-hmm. If you were speeding this morning, you're an illegal too. Then shit, you know.
Exactly.
If you've ever owned a weapon when you weren't supposed to own a weapon, you're an illegal too. Then if we're calling people that word based on them ever having done something that was against the law, then we're not fucking illegals.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad. Well, I'm not sorry.
Right. You know, you ain't got to apologize for me. Yeah.
I want to tell you one more thing, and I got to go because I'm picking up my kid at 2:00 from camp, but Sonic camp, by the way, Sonic Ninja camp. But Pete Hegseth this morning, you got to look this up. I know you will. Pete Hegseth this morning, I only saw a moment of it because I can't stand it, was being, testifying or whatever for the fiscal year 2026 budget for whatever his budget is. What is
$1 trillion?
Budget. My bad. Yeah, $100 trillion.
$1 trillion.
I saw a couple minutes of it, but you should totally look this up. They asked him, "You want $25 billion? Can you be more specific about what you want that $25 billion is for? Have you seen this already?" I happened to pop in for like a minute. They said, "You want $25 billion? Can you tell us what it's for?"
He don't know.
And I'm not going to quote it exactly, but he said, "Well, I can't tell you. And just keep in mind that back in Reagan's time, this and this and this," and then the legislator was like, "I'm sorry, I got to reclaim my time because you're not answering my question." Well, and still, you want $25 billion and you can't tell me where you're going to spend $1?
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
100%.
Are you kidding me?
Correct.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, I had to say about that. If you haven't seen it yet, you should look it up. That's a clip.
I will look it up. I will look it up. And let me just say this before you go. So just to give you a little validity for your hypothesis, okay? So just some of the agencies that are involved in supporting National Guard when they are deployed, some of those federal agencies include the Defense Logistics Agency, the General Services Administration, which is through the GSA Global Supply Program, which does office supplies and tools and furniture and all that kind of stuff. And then there is there's FEMA. They can authorize agencies for certain things. Then there is the Emergency Management Assistance Compact. And then there are other agencies like the State Departments of Transportation, the State Departments of Public Safety and Law Enforcement agencies, but there's quite a few. So when you first go up here, though, to the Defense Logistics Agency, so now here's my thing, Sammy J. So now what I want to do is I want to look all of these up to see how many positions, if I can find the numbers, have been cut under the Trump administration. Okay, John, to talk about it, because just the Defense Logistics Agency, just to give you an idea, and I am on the DLA.mil, and for anybody who doesn't know, .mil means a military website. And it says, as the nation's logistics combat support agency, The Defense Logistics Agency manages the end-to-end global defense supply chain from raw materials to end-user disposition for the 5 military services, 11 combatant commands, other federal, state, and local agencies, and partner and allied nations. And so, yeah, so it just runs through the deal. So it would be interesting to see. They have a worldwide warehouse and distribution services network. So anyway, we'll just see what we come up with. But yeah, so you might not be wrong,
Yeah,
Sammy
that would be
J.
interesting. That will be interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a hypothesis or an assumption. I gotta go though. I'll talk
Okay.
to y'all soon. Y'all take care.
Yep,
You
love
know
you,
what
mean
to
it.
do. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye. I am cracking up that Matt the Angry Vet and Don Lemon were talking about me this morning. This is what happens when I cuss people out. People pay attention. All right. So Karen Fritz, I don't know if you meant to click up or not, but you clicked up. So I'm going to see if you are ready to come up or if not, because if not, we'll move on to something else. Right, Melinda? Holy jeez. Wait until I tell my mama. She's going to be like, what? Yeah, but that's funny. Okay. I guess not. Okay. So here we go. So I want to talk about, cause I do it so well. What do I think of a draft dodger getting a military parade? So Marty, here's what I think. I think that, we should not be doing this parade at all, even if we were doing it, which I personally don't believe that we are doing it to celebrate the Army's anniversary. I just don't. I think that even if we were, a better way to support the Army would be to take this $90 million and give them pay raises or pay for childcare or, do those types of things. Education, because not everybody gets education, just so y'all know. Some people do, some people don't. And so some people get all, some people don't. I think that, celebrating the Army would be a good way to help veterans who don't have homes, to help folks that who are in the VA and it's taking them 4 to 6 months to even get their CMP evaluations or whatever, right? To increase, that's what I think. I think that there would be a better way to celebrate the Army than to spend $90 million on a parade and then have to fix the streets when you're done because of the tanks that are going to cause the damage to the roads. I think that when we are talking about, oh, my mama just popped up and said, I'm here. What? Okay, so Mom, I was in here and I'm live on TikTok and somebody just came in and said, Don said you're his favorite TikToker. And I said, Don who? And I said, Don Lemon? And so she requested to come up and she said, yeah, this morning, Don Lemon played one of your clips while he was live. And he said, you're his favorite TikToker. And I was like, what? I had no clue that this had transpired. But apparently that happened. And then Matt, the Angry Vet, also said the same thing. So yeah, it was just crazy. He's come in my lives and I've been on his live once before. No, I've been on his live, twice before, something like that. Yeah, I did see that, Hell on Wheels. I did. And so he said it this morning, and played the clip that I posted today. Yeah, I've been in his twice. I've seen him pop into mine. You know how sometimes I can see the name when people join, but I don't see all the names when people join. But yeah, so that's what happened today, Mama. Don Lemon told everybody I was his favorite TikToker. That is so crazy, right? It's really crazy. Very crazy. Very, very, very crazy. Yeah, King Britain, 100%. The parade is a gross misuse of taxpayer dollars. 100%. I appreciate you guys. Mel Gray, you got something? Or were you just tapping?
Yes, I was wondering what it would take to get all the taco trucks in LA to roll up on the guard headquarters.
I don't know.
A joke, but think about the goodwill that it would engender, and it would just blow the whole MAGA media campaign out of the water.
It would. That would be fantastic. Somebody needs to call some taco truck places in LA. But you know what would be awesome is if the taco trucks showed up and fed the National Guard for free.
Yeah.
That would be amazing because they sent them there with no food, with no provisions, with no nothing. So if you get all the taco trucks in LA
And some porta potty.
to come in and feed the National Guard for free. I'm just saying, right? That would be amazing, would it
I
not?
mean, think about the media blitz you could do with that.
Yep, 100%. That would be hilarious. Yeah, that would be great.
Taco Tuesday.
Yep. Do it on Taco Tuesday. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That would be hilarious. What's up, Doug? Yeah, that would be a great way to turn up, right? Right, receive grace. That would be fantastic. Hey, Mimi. Don't yell, okay, babe? Shoo.
It's also a lot
They've
harder
been
for
doing
these
all
guys
right,
to
but
fire on a crowd that's full of people who reached out and taken care of them.
yeah, I'm just saying,
They-
right?
They've made that connection.
No, Cheryl, you cannot. No, I would imagine that troops are not happy. So this is my thing. I really believe that people aren't. That's why I have the number posted for the GI rights hotline. Is because people. I want servicemen and women to know their rights. To know, that you don't have to support unlawful orders. You can also contact your JAG. You can contact OIG. There are things that you can do to protect yourself if you feel like you are being ordered to do something that is unlawful, right? Well, he can say that if he wants to. I don't believe anything Pete Hegseth says. All right, so listen, y'all, real quick. Nope, I'm not doing that. It's the wrong heart me. But no, Mel Gray, that's a great idea. Did you have anything else, Sweets?
That was it.
All right, I appreciate you. That's a hell of an idea. I'm gonna call my daughter in LA and be like, girl, you know anybody with a taco truck? But we'll see. Okay, so you found it on YouTube, Cam? Y'all, listen, Danikins go to work. I need a copy of that part. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yay, Ro, you there. Cool. Let's make it happen. We need taco trucks to deliver food for free to the national post a link in the chat. No, not the full link. You got to type it out. TikTok doesn't like links, right? But absolutely in Discord. Yeah. So exactly, Ethan. The real bravery is following your conscience to respect and obey the Constitution. No, you're good, Shannon. Mila, don't fake cry, honey. Okay, what did girls keep your hands to yourself?
Mila just hit me.
Okay. Mila, don't fake cry, please. I can't take it today. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Cam. Appreciate it.
No.
Girls, you are sitting literally next to each other. Stop screaming. Thank you. It's about nap time. Appreciate you, C. Good to see you, sis. I haven't seen you in a minute. Okay, so just really, really quick. Terry Board, they can't do that today. I would lose it. So just really quickly, I want to give you guys just a little bit of more information. So we've already covered Title 10. We've already covered the law and actually what it does or doesn't provide for them to be able to do and not do. But also the things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, and we covered the news release by the receive grace, the LA Police Department, which it shouldn't be. Listen, I made cheesy eggs and bacon and biscuits before I even went live to make sure they had food. Holy geez. The religious side of this, we talk about the religious piece of it sometimes within here, 100%. But there were some other things that I wanted to talk about really quickly. So I don't know if you all are aware that there has now been guidance that has been given out regarding ICE getting immigrant children from foster homes, from foster systems. I don't know if you all are aware of this or not, but a lady that was the yeah, so this is a thing. So give me just a second so that I can pull it up for you. So in February of this year, the Department of Health and Human Services had issued guidance on foster care and immigration enforcement. And as a result of that, they have now begun to go into foster homes. And here's what happened is the lady is she is the person that let me see if I can find what I'm looking for real quick. Oh, give me 1 second. Where is her give me a second. What is her name?
What
what the hell is her name? There she is. So Ileana Garcia, who's a Republican, she co-founded the Latinas for Trump organization. So yesterday she issued a sharp rebuke of the Trump administration. Not yesterday, on Sunday. And here's what she had to say. She took particular issue with reported tactics in South Florida where immigration officials have allegedly been making arrests in immigration courts and taking other steps to target other individuals otherwise in compliance with orders. And then she goes on to talk about foster care systems. So she says, quote, "This is not what we voted for. I have always supported Trump through thick and thin. However, this is unacceptable and inhumane." And then she said, "I understand the importance of deporting criminal aliens, but what we are witnessing are arbitrary measures to hunt down people who are complying with their immigration hearings, in many cases with credible fear of persecution claims, all driven by a Miller-like desire to satisfy a self-fabricated deportation goal. This undermines the sense of fairness and justice that the American people value." And so let me tell you the rest of what she said. Whoops. Sorry, y'all. I mistyped. Oh my gosh. Come on, please. Thank you. Okay, so I believe there are several articles about this. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get to all the things that I have pulled up because there's always quite a few. Jeez, I don't need this one anymore. I got to close out some of the stuff that I don't need. I'm already in this. Okay, so let me see if this is the right link to the picture. How are you? Sorry, you guys. It's Title 10, Dempsey. Title 10 is what you're talking about. And we've covered it very extensively in here, but I just want to make sure that you know that I know what you're talking about. Title 10. So why won't it let me pull this up? I'm so mad right now. Give me a second. Y'all hear her? She's getting delusional because she's sleepy. Anyway, she says, "I am deeply disappointed by these actions and I will not stand down." And so this is the talk that they are now looking at children that are in foster care. So if you all remember, during the Trump administration, we had a lot of children that were separated from their parents, right? And in that, oh, here we go. Okay, so there was another person, Maria Elvira Salazar, and she put out a statement. Okay, and so Ileana responded to that. So let me read her full statement. So this is Maria's full statement. I am fully aware and broken about the uncertainty now gripping Florida's 27th district. Let me share this with you guys, right? Yes, my mom said pray for day-long thunderstorms on Saturday in DC. Yes, 100%. And she says, I am fully aware and heartbroken about the uncertainty now gripping Florida's 27th district because of the recent immigration actions of the administration. Arrests in immigration courts, including people with I-220A and pending asylum cases, the termination of the CHNV program, which has left thousands exposed to deportation, and other similar measures all jeopardize our duty to due process that every democracy must guarantee. I remain clear in my position. Anyone with a pending asylum case, status adjustment petition, or similar claim deserves to go through the legal process. It is an undisputable fact. I knew it was coming. Gavin Newsom has asked a judge for an emergency intervention. I told y'all the emergency intervention was coming. This is it right now. I told y'all it was coming. Anyway, she says it is an undisputable fact that the vast majority of these individuals fled Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, the three most brutal regimes in our hemisphere and sworn enemies of the United States. I wholeheartedly agree that the administration must kick out every criminal here illegally, just as President Trump promised. Many still remain, and we should keep our focus on them. Next week, I will meet with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem alongside my colleagues, and then she lists them all out there to personally explain the dire situation. And so now they are upset because this is the deal. This is what's happening, and we go by there. So let me just be clear. There hasn't been an emergency injunction that has been ordered yet, but that is what Gavin Newsom has just asked the court for. So we will see what happens. I think there will probably be an emergency injunction ordered. I really do think so. I think that these emergency injunctions are why they've included in the big ugly ass bill, right? They want it so that these federal judges cannot use their criminal contempt powers to enforce these injunctions when they are disobeyed, which is another reason this bill should not be passed, right? So what has happened now is Gavin Newsom has asked the court for emergency intervention before these Marines get to California, before any of those things happen. So, Dempsey, you are welcome to come on up here and have a chat with me. Here, I just sent you a request. You've got 10,000 followers, so you should be able to come on up and join my live, lickety split, no problem. Dempsey. Dempsey, I sent you a direct invitation. Right, Sandy, 100%. Dempsey, where'd you go? That's hilarious, Tracy. Dempsey, can you jump on up here so we can have a respectful conversation about the things that you're saying? Oh, I know he is. I can tell. Dempsey, you mentioned Article 10, which I believe you meant to say Title 10, right? And when you referenced the federal courts overstepping their grounds, I would love to discuss how you believe that could be possible in this way. Dempsey? Okay, I'm assuming that you're not going to join the panel. Yeah, he's not coming up. Yeah, you're more than welcome to come up. All right. So, folks, when I bring you up, do me a favor, put yourself on mute until I can get to you, just so that everyone knows. We've got about 30, 40 minutes left of the live. So let's make sure that we all are respectful with our comments. Remember, let's level set. We are respectful in our conversation. We do not use slurs, folks. Don't spam my comments, and do not type in all caps, because all caps are reserved for moderators and for my folks that are vision impaired. So just respect that. Okay. What's up, Black Society? How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm fantastic. What you got for me today?
I want to know, what is your stand? I'm just checking it out. I checked you out the other day. You were talking, but are you for or against deportation?
You have to be more specific when we talk about deportation.
Really?
Yeah, because, and here's what I mean by that. So the reason why I say that is because when we say, are you for or against deportation? You can't just leave it blanket, right? So because when you talk about deportations, are you talking about legal deportations? Are you talking about deportations of folks that are here without legal status? Like, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to what's happening in California.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I'm not in favor of what the Trump administration is doing in California.
Or why not?
Because it's illegal.
Illegal?
Yes.
Was it legal for people to come here as aliens? What about that? What about that legality?
Well, I've yet to see ET on the street, right? So
What do you mean ET on the street?
because you said alien, and human beings aren't aliens.
You don't get what I'm saying.
I do get what you're saying, but what I'm saying here is that.
Law, right?
So here's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's back up for just a second. So here's what I'm saying very clearly is that when we talk about unauthorized immigrants in the country, can you tell me who all falls into that category as the Department of Homeland Security defines them? Who all are the people that are considered unauthorized immigrants in this country? Who are they?
Those that came across the border without proper identification to come into the country with a visa like anybody else.
That's actually not accurate.
Okay, tell me.
Well, hold on. Here's what I'm going to do, because I like for people to actually see where I'm getting information from. So what I'm going to do is turn my screen around. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
And I will show you what the Department of Homeland Security says an unauthorized document is. Dempsey, I'm going to mute you or boot you from this live if you do not join the panel. What you're not going to do is sit in my comments and talk shit and spout rhetoric and not come up here and discuss the facts. Like, I'm just not going to allow you to do that. You can either join the panel and have a respectful conversation, or you will be muted or booted from the live. That's totally up to you, however you want to live. Right? Okay, so 1 second. There we go. That's what I'm sharing. All right, so I am reading from the Department of Homeland Security's unauthorized immigrant population between 2018 and 2022. Now, this was published April of last year. This is the most recent publication regarding our unauthorized immigrant population. One of the reasons I love this report is because the very first thing that it does is tell you the definitions for legal residents and unauthorized immigrants. What you don't see a definition for is alien, because that's not how the Department of Defense. Hold on for a second. Black Society, listen, wait. It's really important that you understand the way we do things, okay? I'm not going to talk over you, and I'm going to ask that you don't talk over me. When I'm done kind of sharing this piece of it, then I will give you a turn to respond. And that's how we have respectful conversation. Appreciate you, the boss. All right, so this is how the Department of Homeland Security talks about individuals. And what you will see is unauthorized immigrants are anyone that is not a legal resident of the country. So that's what it says. All foreign-born non-citizens who are not legal residents as defined above. That also includes people who are here on temporary protected status, people who are DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, people who are here under other forms of prosecutorial discretion. Maybe they are going through the asylum process. Maybe they are awaiting, removal proceedings in immigration court. Anybody here, even someone that is waiting for an adjustment to their legal status, all of those people are included in the numbers for unauthorized immigrants. So when you say that they are people here with no papers that didn't come here with visas, that's not accurate.
Okay, then you explain to me, can I go to another country the same way they came into this country? This is what the Homeland Security says, but what does the Constitution say?
Yeah, actually the Constitution says that you can do it too. And matter of fact, yes, you can. Have you ever read, hold on.
I can go. Do I get a chance to talk?
You asked me a question, so I was going to answer your question.
I hadn't finished asking you the question.
Okay, well, go ahead. Ask the question. Ask the question.
I says, can I go to places like Colombia and just walk across the border and just live there without any papers or anything? Can I do this in any other country that they would allow me to come in and just live there?
Yes.
Work there?
Yes. In Mexico, you can stay there.
What country do you know?
I'm telling you, in Mexico, you can live there for 6 months without any paperwork. Yes, you can.
But you have to leave, right?
No, well, then they give you the options for processes after that.
But what if you don't leave?
Okay,
What
so
if you
again,
stay longer?
so hold on for a second.
What if you stay longer?
Okay, so hold on, because here's something that has to happen. Okay, what I need you to do, because we're going to walk through this, okay, very clearly. So here's what I'm going to ask you is, have you gone to any other country and reviewed their immigration policies?
No, because they required me to have a visa just to get in.
But they do not.
Oh, really? So I can just walk through
Correct.
immigration?
They do
I
not.
can just walk through immigration, they'll let me go
Yeah.
through?
Yes. Yeah.
What country have you done that
All
in?
countries.
What country have you done that in? And
So
if you know somebody-
again, Black society. Stop being
That's the
argumentative. What I'm telling you here, would you like to see? Come on,
No,
let me
I'm
just show
asking
you.
I don't want to see
No,
nothing.
well,
I
that's
want
because
you
I'm not
to-
going to argue with
If
you.
know
I'm
that,
not.
you're not with me then,
Okay,
sweetie.
look, good God, bless it. I am not going to continuously argue something with you when I am literally giving you the information, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. All countries have immigration policies and procedures. All of them do. All of them, like Mexico has a constitution, and you can absolutely go. And do you want to know how I know this about Mexico? Because I literally looked it up for myself to see what they needed and what they didn't, how long you could live there without citizenship. I did that for myself. That way I wouldn't be sitting on TikTok spouting information that was incorrect.
Can I ask
Right?
you another question then? My
Sure.
question is, what happens if you stay longer than 6 months? Do you get a chance to stay another 6 months?
Yep. There's a process for you to go through. There sure
what if you
is.
don't
The
do that
same way.
process?
So the
if
same
you
way
don't do
in the
that
United
process?
States of America, excuse me for just a second, you ask a question, so I'm going to answer it again. Okay. So what you do in Mexico, for example, is after that 6 months, then you can get a work permit. And let's say you get a job, you can get a work permit and stay again. You can go through a different type of immigration policy, just like in the United States of America. You can be here in this country and you have up to 12 months to apply for asylum. So let's just say that I came into the United States of America illegally, right? And I was here for 8 months. And all of a sudden, I was picked up by immigration, right? I could say, hey, I want to claim asylum. And there's a criteria that I have to meet. I have to be able to provide the documentation to establish a credible threat based on several different things like race, gender, sexual orientation, religion. And once I meet that standard, right, then I am given a court date, and I start to go through the system, the legal system, where I then get an attorney and we start the immigration process, and there's a court date that is set and all of that. So yes, just like here, there are other countries where you have a period of time.
or Amazon, don't just you, because if you come here and don't go through that process, because all of the millions and millions of people that came here, are you saying all of them are applying for this problem that they have in the country, that they are having trouble in the country? Everybody's applying for the same status? Because if you do apply for a court date, don't you know it takes 8 years to get actual court date? Millions of people coming through the court system. It takes about 8 years, so you get to live here for 8 years without paperwork. So let me ask another question.
None of that is accurate.
What's the difference between somebody?
Hold on, Slick Nasty. Hold on.
Excuse me. Don't overtalk.
I wasn't talking to. Hold on. Here's what you're not going to do. When I tell someone else to hold on, you're not going to tell me how to run my live. So I'm going to ask you for the last time to take it down a notch, right? And we're going to engage in a conversation. But be clear that this is my live, this is my platform, and you won't tell me how to run it. So we're going to be very clear about that fact. And if you don't, yes, you did. As soon as I was talking to someone else who was about to interrupt you, you thought you were going to tell me what to do. And that's not happening at all, ever. And if you do not like it, you are welcome to go to someone else's live.
My apologies. Can I ask you a question?
No, I need you to hold on for a minute because my granddaughter needs me.
You don't hear it?
Yes, baby. Okay. Give me one moment. Can I get one of my folks to give me a quick break so I can go help Mila? I need to help my granddaughter. I'll be back in like 1 to 2 minutes. Appreciate you, Stacey D. I'll be right back, folks.
You got it. Welcome into the live, Dani.
So, Stacey, can you answer the question?
Don't interrupt her.
No. I have a specific purpose to fulfill. And so that's what I'm going to do. Dani will be back with you momentarily. Thank you so much for your cooperation. So, welcome to Dani's Chat. For the newcomers, I would like to say we appreciate you being here. We have engaging conversation and discussion. We do not debate. So there are a few rules in Dani's live. We do not use slurs. We are always respectful. We do not use all caps, and we do not spam the comments. When you are brought up on the panel, please put yourself on mute until Dani is able to get to you. If you will look up by the top for Dani's emblem, where her face is, where her icon is, there is a little heart. Please push that heart and send one heart to her, because it tells the algorithm that we are having good engaging conversation. Also, tapping is clapping and free, and so sharing is caring, and it is also free. So if you are not a subscriber, please feel free to subscribe to Dani's live, because she gives complete facts, only facts. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm in a hospital. Please, she gives the facts, only the facts, and always the facts. So she provides us with all of this content for a very low price. Please look into it when you have the opportunity. I return you to our regularly scheduled broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacey D. I appreciate you greatly. Had to go take care of Mila. All right. So really quickly,
can I ask you my question?
Give me 1 second, please. All right. All right. What is your question?
What's the difference between those that come here legally through the process and those that come across the border?
You can come across the border legally.
So I don't have to file any papers with immigration.
So again, you can come across the border legally. Legally. No,
How
legally.
do you come across the border legally?
Okay, so Black Society, are you familiar with 8 USC 1158?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so that is our asylum law. And what the asylum law says specifically is that all you have to do is be present on soil in the United States of America. And it actually is very specific. It says whether at a port of entry, whether between ports of entry, or whether you are brought in from the ocean, you can legally seek asylum without doing anything different. So I don't care if I come in, I crawl over a fence, and I jump down and my feet touch U.S. soil. I don't have to be at a port of entry. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is say, I'm here to seek asylum. And then I immediately am protected by that law, and I go through the due process provided under that law.
What if you don't do that, though? What if you don't go to the authority that says, I'm here for asylum, and you just go your way? And
Okay, so what we will talk about now, because you're giving hypotheticals. So let me ask you this. How many unauthorized immigrants do you think that we have in the United States of America?
At least 5 or 6 million more.
Not true.
Hold on, Slick Nasty. He's actually understating it. So because remember, we include DACA in that. We include folks that are here.
Those coming across the border, that's all.
Well, but all of those people are included in these numbers. All of those people are included in these numbers. So we have a total of about 11 million unauthorized immigrants total in this country. Now, okay, so you and I are going to have a problem if every time I'm speaking, you want to slip in a word.
Please.
No, please my ass. I'm dead ass serious. I'm dead. Listen to my face. I'm dead ass serious. I'm not taking 1 ounce of your attitude. I'm not taking 1 ounce of it. I don't know where you're coming with. This is not your page. This is not your platform. I don't know who you're talking to, but it is not me. You can either be respectful or you will be booted. And I'm okay either way. But if you would like to have a respectful conversation, you will stop talking over me and interjecting when I'm talking. It's rude as fuck.
But you talk over me.
It's my damn live. And let me just tell you this. If you do not stop, you're going to be booted. So make a choice right now. We're either going to have a respectful conversation or we're not. Would you like to do that? Yes. Would you like to do that? Yes or no?
No, because you.
No. Okay. Well, you have a great day. That's how the fuck that works. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. Ever. I ain't. I don't know where y'all come from. Hold on, Slick Nasty. Hold on. I don't know where y'all come from. I'm not your daughter. I'm not, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to, but it is not me at all. All I literally asked you to do was be respectful. That's it. And your ass can't even do that. I can't with that bullshit. You can take that on somewhere. I'm not here for that. If you want to be seen, no, it's not Gustavo. And by the way, you mean Gustavo, not Gustavo. You mean Gustavo, right? That's what you're trying to say. But here's the thing. I literally asked you, do you want to have a respectful conversation? Your ass said no. Done. I accommodated you. That's it. That's it. When you decide you want to follow just simple ass guidelines and be respectful, then you can request back up. But until then, it's not going to happen. That's exactly right. You are exactly right, Char 28. This is an example of the problem. He wants to argue instead of have a conversation and exchange information. That's exactly the problem. Ridiculous, like loud and fucking wrong. What's up, Slick Nasty?
I'm sorry, Dani. I couldn't stand this guy. First of all, he came up on panel uninformed. I interrupted him because he said about 5 or 6 million. I was going to say 11 million. First of all, he didn't come to get proper information. He just wanted to argue his point, which was totally all wrong. Let me school you, whatever your name is, who can't spell. You need some schoolhouse rock. But anyway, there are many countries that will accept people on their immigration policy that'll give you a longer time to apply for citizenship. We're not the only country.
Right.
Countries in Europe does it. Spain does it. Thailand does it. That's just to come up here just to prove a stupid point is asinine. But I came up. I'm not going to hold up your time. I came up because I live in South Florida, Dani, as you know.
Yep.
Everything we're talking about with Maria Salazar and the community is jumping on them like white on rice. They're telling them, you can see it on the news down here in South Florida, you lied to us. Mm-hmm. But we didn't lie. No, they're telling them in their faces on TV, you told us the untruth. And this is the problem when you side with a convicted felon. You don't get truth. And they're telling the community they didn't know. That's a bold-faced lie. When they met down here in Doral, they had a meeting with the House members. They knew exactly what was going to happen, Dani. They were informed of everything. That's why you see Congress right now inert, not doing anything, because the plan was to let Donald Trump do his business. So for them to come back and say, well, we didn't know. Some people in the Hispanic community down there are catching them in their bull crap and calling them out. And this is the reason why they know that when the vote comes next year, when we have to vote, their seats are going to be in jeopardy. Because they knew from day one. And there are a lot of people, when they see the Venezuelan community in Doral being deported by the hundreds, they're saying, okay, you're seeing, but we're seeing something else. You're just a paper tiger. You're just saying things to us.
Mila, not so loud.
If you saw the news down here, you will see how much opposition that they have to the Republican Party. The people are in tears. We believe it is sad.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. You make you laugh will make you cry.
Yep.
We were trying to tell them this is not true, but let me say this, and I'm going to leave. There are a lot of people in the Hispanic community that come to this country with those supremacist ideas. And my wife is Hispanic. She's Cuban. Mm-hmm. She talks to me all the time. They align themselves with white supremacy because they have a touch of it in their own countries. Mm-hmm. So I hope people are not surprised when they come here. They come here with a preconceived notion about Black people in this country.
Sure do. Yep.
And here's the other thing. I just had an argument with somebody and I said, a lot of y'all come here, you don't know the history of this country. You don't know the reason why you can fight and say the things you do. You don't know about the civil rights struggle. All you know is Donald Trump. And that's the only thing you can say. But you don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that my people had to go through to give you that opportunity to tell us to kiss your behind.
Yep. It
is sad. I don't get it. And look, and my wife is white Hispanic. And I she doesn't argue with me, but I got to get some of her people straight all the time. I'm surrounded by her people, and I give it to them. They say, well, why are you so angry? I'm not angry. Y'all are just informed and you're ignorant. But you're getting what you deserve.
Yeah.
What do we deserve? You deserve just what you voted for. You're scared now. And here's the other thing somebody said in comments. The Cubans didn't think that it was going to happen to them because they had special privileges.
100%.
They think that they had special privileges, and a lot of them vote that way. And you won't believe the reason why most Cubans vote Republican now is because of the Bay of Pigs. They thought that Kennedy turned their back on them. And then with the Southern strategy, which was implemented also to get the Hispanic vote in South Florida, it just flipped that thing around. So you have to have historical precedent to understand why things are the way they are. Now, we have Cubans who are Democrats, and it's the young ones that are grasping. The old ones who live off A Street, that's eating at Versailles, they're stuck like Chuck. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I'm going to say before I get off, a lot of people don't know, Cubans were at odds with one another when they first came to Miami. There's a group called Alpha 66 and a couple other groups. They were bombing each other here in South Florida. Look it up. They would plant car bombs.
Watch TikTok friendly. Car boom booms.
car boom booms.
Yes.
My bad. So I see somebody say you're on point. Yeah, I'm on point because I live here.
Right.
I see it. So So when Dani is saying these things, you know, it is spot on point. And one last thing for this guy who can't spell black so, he is ignorant as he is totally ignorant. This is the cornbread eating mofos that we have to deal with.
Not cornbread.
Well, you told me to keep it clean, and this is the way I can keep it clean.
Right.
He's a cornbread eating mofo. Chicken back grease eating. Anyway, he is ignorant as anyway.
Yes.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's trying to come up here and make an intelligent conversation with misinformation.
Correct.
And on that note, Dani, I love you. I love what you do.
Well,
Girl, you are on point. And get these mofos in order. And on that note, I digress.
I appreciate you. Thanks, Slicks Naxty. You have a good one. All right, so guys, I do want to just share just like a quick overview, okay? Some specific examples of where you can go visa free, right? For some period of time, whether it's 30 days, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is, right? Yeah, baby. Absolutely. I am. 15 minutes, girl. And guess what else? Guess what else? Allie is coming to eat dinner with us. And we're gonna play some Mario Odyssey. We're gonna play some Smash Bros.
I was thinking how we could do like this. Where we would play games.
That's exactly what it is, girl. We're gonna have a good time. Okay, so all right. So some of the countries where you can do that, right? Belize, up to 30 days. Jamaica, visa free up to 6 months. Costa Rica, US, Canadian, UK, Australian, New Zealand citizens can all stay for up to 30 days, right? Let me see. Estonia has a e-residency program. Longer, like Mexico, is up to 6 months. Canada is also visa free up to 6 months. Folks, listen, the United States of America, appreciate you guys hitting 400K, is not the only country that has immigration policies and that people immigrate to, right? We're not. This idea, and I'm, you know, some of y'all get mad when I say this, and I, again, don't care. There is nothing about the, stop, sissy. There's nothing about being American that makes you better than everyone else. Sure, Laura, go ahead. Absolutely. Sure, go ahead. It literally says that. Yes. Up to 6 months, visa free. You sure can. I need to make sure that we understand this. Being an American does not make you better than everyone else in the world. It doesn't. It doesn't make you more valuable as a human being. It doesn't make you more worthy of compassion or empathy. It doesn't make you deserve better treatment than anyone else, right? We are not exceptional. We are human beings, period. And people need to understand that. This idea that you are all of a sudden looking down on people. Many people who come from countries and they speak 3, 4 languages, while most Americans speak 1, and that's it, right? They come from countries where they are taught world history, and they have to know the history of other countries because many of their countries have been colonized over and over again by different ones of them, right? Go to Africa. They can tell you the history of Germany, China now, right? Especially Europe, UK, Italy, like all of them, right? I know I said Europe, I meant the UK, right? I'm just saying, understand France. Let me not forget my French people. France, right? Belgium. I think I said Germany, right? Belgium. You have to, they come from a place where they know more about world history than damn near any American. Because Americans place so much emphasis on American history and the American history that they want Americans to learn. Okay? That, not real history. Everyone doesn't want to come here and never leave. They don't, Santosh. That's not a real thing. That's what you think in your imagination, but that's not it. Every African I know speaks anywhere from 4 to 6 languages, minimum. Correct, Beyonce. Correct. And so it tickles me the way that many Americans look down on other people, look down on people from other countries, especially Black and brown countries that this president referred to as shithole countries, right? Especially those countries. And people will often say, I've heard people say, we're just better at colonizing than other people. We're just better at war than other people. That's not really a bragging right, people. Do you understand that conflict is the easy way? Learning how to amicably coexist with people is much difficult. It's much more difficult. Do you understand that? To find respect for each other, right? To find a way to exist and work together and to develop mutually beneficial ways of life, right? That is much right. Diplomacy is hard. And if you're going to brag about somebody, you got to brag about when you can be diplomatic, when you can build relationships, when you can disagree but still have connection. That's exactly what we do, Brittany Davis, a lot. So just to be clear, folks, the things that you all think are to be celebrated and you want to brag about are the things that you might want to just tone that down a notch, because while you're bragging about them, the Jesus that so many of you all claim to worship is looking at you with a side eye. Like, that ain't nowhere in the Bible. I didn't tell y'all to go colonize everybody. I didn't tell you to colonize your neighbor. I told you to love your neighbor. I didn't tell you to deport your neighbor. I told you to love your neighbor. I didn't tell you to enslave your neighbor. I told you to love thy neighbor. And it's not just that. He said, love thy neighbor as thyself. And do you want to know what I actually believe? I actually believe that that's what it is. You are loving your neighbor the way you love yourself, because most of you can't stand who you are. You know who you truly are. You don't like yourself, and that's why you don't like nobody else. You cannot give what you do not have. If you do not have self-love, you can't give it. If you do not have self-acceptance, you can't give it. You don't like what you see in the mirror. You want to look everywhere else and blame everywhere else for what you are. That's the problem. All day long. But instead of focusing on you, you want to focus on everybody else. That's the problem. Focus on you. What's my little girl? She said, worry about yourself. That's it. We shouldn't be taking over anything else until we can fix our own shit. I hear people all the time talking about, I wanna win the lottery, and can't balance your checkbook. If you cannot manage $800, ain't no way you winning $800 million. Manage what you got. You can't manage the 50 states you already have. If I was Canada and Greenland, I'd be looking at you like, you got to be out your damn mind. Ain't no way we ever coming over there. And when you talk about those things, let me tell you why you were able to colonize other countries and other people. Because they don't have a priority system that is based on possession and wealth. They might have a hierarchy within, right? But they don't have, they have a village community. That nuclear family bullshit, they don't have that. They have that we take care of each other mentality. They have the you ain't got it and I do, come get you some. You got it and I ain't got it, I'll come get me some. And nobody's shaming anybody for what they don't have. So let me just be very real with folks, okay, about where we are. Pitchfork, honey, don't pop off in the comments. Come on up here on the panel. I can do one more mediocre man today. I can do one more. Yeah, are you a woman? I can do I don't know. I can do one more mediocre person right now. One more. Seriously. One more mediocre, ridiculously inaccurately informed, aggressively ignorant person. I can do one more. You ready or no? Pitchfork. Right. I'm only doing one more. Fired up and ready to go. Yes, Mama Dukes, I have. That's why it's white. That's why it's winding down. So, folks, there was other information that I was hoping to get to today, and it didn't happen. But we're going to talk about some more of it tomorrow. I do not correct, Tech Lady. Correct. I do not expect to be live again tonight. I will be live tomorrow, as usual. I need to look really quickly because y'all know tomorrow is Wednesday. So I need to look really quick and see what is happening right now. So I don't want that. Sorry, guys. It brought up something for me that I did not want. All right. So very quickly, let me kind of tell you. Oh, I love that bass drop. I'm so glad. All right. So let me just tell you that tomorrow, which is the 11th, I will be on tomorrow morning because I can't with these people. I'll be on because they got physical therapy tomorrow. So expect me on at 10 a.m. To 1 p.m. tomorrow. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow, which is the 11th. I will see you then. And we've got a lot to talk about. Yeah, I like the early lives too, Conchita, to be honest. If you know people that missed this morning's live or today's live, tell them to check it out on Facebook and YouTube. I appreciate you all for absolutely crushing the likes and the shares and the gifts. John A., if you are still here, thank you for the badass lion today. I appreciate everybody. YouTube folks, Facebook folks, I appreciate you all as well. I will see everybody later. Until then, take care of you. Peace.